is retailing at 212 shillings and 36 cents, diesel at 201 shillings and 47 cents, and kerosene at 199 shillings and 5 cents per litre. The latest review comes in the backdrop of President William Ruto's announcement last month, pointing to a fall in December.
Bei ya mafuta sasa tumeanza kuishughulikia na tumetafuta namna ya kuhakikisha kwamba bei isipite mahali ambapo Wakenya wengi wataumia. Mumeona kuanzia mwezi huu hiyo bei imeanza sasa kuteremuka. Mwezi ujao itateremuka zaidi. Mwezi hiyo ingine namna hiyo hiyo. Mpaka tuhakikisha kwamba tunamudu hiyo bei, ndio tuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kuendesha mambo ya uchumi wa taifa letu kwa njia inayofaa.
Naftali Kinuthia has been sentenced to serve 40 years in jail for the murder of medical student Wangeci in Eldoret 4 years ago. Justice Stephen Githinji said that the offence committed was brutal and called for a harsh sentence against the accused. Former Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich and 8 other co-accused are now free after an acquittal in the 63 billion shillings Aror and Kimwarer Graft case. Magistrate Eunice Nyutu said the prosecution had failed to lead the case by presenting only 8 witnesses out of the 49 whom they had intended to call.
I find that there is need to check the unfortunate and reckless habit of the ODPP commencing proceedings which they have no intention of pursuing to its logical conclusion. Such conduct is an affront to the administration of justice and a waste of precious judicial time. It is an insult to the dignity of the court and all the stakeholders involved in the criminal justice system. Indeed, such officers from the Office of Director of Public Prosecution should be personally held liable for any compensatory damages arising out of suits filed by aggrieved persons against the government.
Nyutu further stated that there was no evidence tabled in court to show that the former CS and 8 others failed to follow procurement laws. In the dams case, Rotich on his part said that his enemy's plans had failed.
All the accused persons herein are hereby acquitted under Section 210 of the CPC.
The national government has set aside 37 billion shillings to buy modern military equipment. Interior CS Kithure Kindiki said the equipment will be used in the fight against terrorism in order to prevent further death of police officers.
That we are going to establish an endowment fund which will support families that have been left by our fallen heroes in the line of duty. I did task the institutions concerned to set up the endowment fund. The vice chairperson of the National Police Service Commission, who is here, has assured me that the policy framework for the endowment fund has been completed and is waiting my approval.
Kindiki further warned officers against misusing their firearms.
Kama afisa wa polisi, kama ule tumeambiwa hapa, amechukua bunduki, ameingia kwa klabu, amelewa, amekataa kulipa bill, anaua watu. As we have no business with those kind of officers. Wafungwe kabisa, hata wasitoke, wafungwe milele.
The government has allocated 150 million shillings towards TVETs to promote digital learning. Education CS Ezekiel Machogo says that this will be the best way to educate the youth on how to secure job opportunities online.
In order for us to create a capacity, in order for us to give the necessary required training, and one of such important components that you are going to train is on Jitume RAB, so that the 124 TVET institutions that we have been able to provide computers, we don't provide the infrastructure without then inculcating and giving out the necessary required technical knowledge in order for those young people to access the much needed foreign online jobs, which we really want them to access.
A Senegal court has ordered jailed opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to be reinstated on the electoral register, a ruling that could pave the way for him to run in a February presidential election. Sonko has faced a flurry of court cases over the past 2 years for charges including libel, rape, which he denies. The cases against him have triggered deadly violence in the West African nation. Sonko was cleared of rape in June but sentenced to a 2-year jail term after a court found him guilty of an offence described in the penal code as immoral behavior towards individuals younger than 21. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start.
A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, you markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him, who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And he must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, now you fellow you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing police of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. And hii mambo utaona dunia tu.
This is one of the hottest show that we can ever miss in the morning, and it's a show that really gives a real situation in the Situation Room.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much. Nduthai, nice meeting you. Even beautiful in person more than in photos.
Say that again. Character is like pregnancy. You cannot hide it. People hiding here and there, but after 2-3 months, 5 months, now you see. So that is why the attitude that you were showing us, you're pregnant.
It's like what my grandmother would say. You cannot pickpocket a naked man.
How's that? It's communal, isn't it?
No comment. The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
We're at the tail end of the week. Good morning and welcome to Friday, the 15th of December. And what is it going to look like on these streets this morning? Jogger Road is also looking busy already. We're likely to see more movement getting into the weekend, coming off of Landis and then out towards Kamkunji at the roundabout. We'll see what happens on Haile Selassie. The pickup of that has already begun. On the Thika Superhighway this morning, nothing looking too messy right now. As you get past then the Madari Valley out towards Survey and then into the city via way of the Pangani underpass, we're already seeing that it's going to start to clog up just a little bit. But if you're on the streets, you'll realize that traffic is not an issue, at least not for now. It looks like we're starting off Friday all right. We want to keep it that way, but we know that there will be traffic at some point to avoid those trouble spots, which will likely be Jogger Road. It's coming out of Westlands, and we'll also see Lower Kabete going through Spring Valley, United Nations Avenue, the Crescent. There will be traffic there this morning because the construction continues. And there's rain here and there, drizzle here and there, and it's going to be slippery, so be careful. All right, let's see what happens as we get through the morning. And then let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
It's Friday.
The only way to start your day.
Hit the party scene.
Right that. Huh?
Exactly
like that. It's Friday. Siniliambia nyinyi. Mafuta tashuka kidogo. Kidogo tu. We've seen. Siti cheza na mic kwanza alafu tuambie ukiwa ready. Tuwashe mic yako. Uko ready?
Kutu 2 3 niko tayari.
Eko tayari?
Mimi sisi wako tayari. Yes, this parlor tricks that he reduce it by 50 cents and then increase it by another 3 bob.
You know what we forget is that already in the last month's price, it was 20 bob cheaper than what it could have been.
Yes. Of course it was cheaper.
Than what it could have been with a subsidy, whatever, in place.
Yeah, that thing.
So any other drop
is a drop in the ocean.
Is already minus 20.
So it's more. We're already minus 20, so it's you're adding the minus the 20. Okay, that's a good thing, isn't it? Okay, fine. So fuel has reduced. And that's a good thing. Okay.
Wale watu wanaumia ni OMCs.
So 100 shillings can buy more fuel now than it could the other day.
Than it could yesterday.
Okay.
Today it can buy more than it could yesterday. Otherwise, how are you, City?
I'm actually very well. Yes.
Very good. Very good.
I was visited by our friend Stephen Osia yesterday. Told me to tell you people thank you very much. Welcome.
Stephen Osia is the New York Times acclaimed author.
Or the Guardian.
Or the Guardian.
Yes.
Author of Luo of Kenya.
Yes, that one.
Not the Luo. It's Luo of Kenya.
Salimia nyinyi sana.
Tumesalimika sana.
Yes.
Na wendu?
Talk to me.
Mambo iko vipi?
Mambo iko poa. Yep.
Very good.
Niko salama.
Very good.
Na wewe uko aje?
Mimi niko fiti.
Nimefurahi kukuona.
Morans is ongoing.
Beautiful.
It was flagged off yesterday, not flagged off. It was kicked off yesterday.
Literally.
By the Deputy Governor of Kajiado at Kajiado Town Stadium. Teams have come from all over, including a team from Samburu and a team from Narok County.
I love it.
So yesterday was the first round one.
Moto.
Ukienda kwa hizo uwanja. Things bana, talent, even the girls. Where?
I love to hear it. Yes.
So everybody, good morning. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation this Friday morning. It's middle of the month. And today we'll have several conversations. Conversation number one. Number one is what's happening to our young men and women when they leave the country after high school and they go straight abroad to the abroad for their studies. Apparently, there's some concern that now coming back. There are many who are out there saying culture shock. You've come from the shags, you've gone into this country, not even stopped at Nairobi yet to collect 200.
200 and Pasco.
Straight pop airport out.
Inside.
Yoruko, in Adelaide or wherever. And this whole life now is so different. You're meeting new people who have a strong accent. They think you have a strong accent and you don't have any. I mean, you're just speaking the way you normally speak, but they're speaking funny. Apparently, it's a big concern, and we'll be joined by Dr. Albert Kochei. Dr. Kochei is a board director at the Communications Authority, and the first speaker of Elgeyo Marakwet County. He has raised this on social media and said, you know what? He said on his social media, it's time It's highly advisable to all parents to ensure they send their children abroad for studies when they have matured enough to cope with culture shock. Avoid sending Form 4 leavers unless otherwise. Some feedback isn't settling well. So let's debate with him. What do you mean?
What do you mean? How do you
mean
confirm that this child actually is ready?
Has matured well? Do they turn brown or what happened? How would you know? So let him come at 7 and tell us. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll be joined by Professor Peter Kagwanja. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Institute. And we will talk about Kenya. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Kenya. From that Africa Institute, let's narrow it down to Kenya. Sindio?
Ni sawa.
Very good. Aya, tell us about the weather.
Right now.
16 minutes after 6. We are already live streaming the show on YouTube and Facebook. Say hello to everybody. Eric, Ndu, CT, Edna, and even Yegon. Yego is there, sitting next to Edna. Pia yeye asalimiwe kidogo asikie poa.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Drizzly cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning, 16 degrees. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 15. We'll also see lows of 15 in a mostly cloudy and rainy Nakuru, going to highs of 25. 23 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Nyeri, currently at 17, and it's 14 and cloudy in Eldoret. Highs of 24 and lows of 14. Into a cloudy Mombasa, it's 26 degrees, highs of 31 and lows of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in a partly cloudy Malindi at 26. Kisumu is 19 and cloudy this morning, highs of 28, and Kakamega is cloudy at 16 with highs of 28 as well through Friday. Kampala is cloudy at 20, highs of 27, and Dar es Salaam is mostly clear at 27, and we'll see highs of 32. Johannesburg is mostly cloudy at 18 with highs of 25 and lows of 16, and we're looking into partly cloudy conditions at 27 in Mogadishu with highs of 32. 21 will be the high in a partly cloudy Addis Ababa at 13, coming down to lows of 9. Lagos, the Harmattan continues. It's hazy at 23 with highs of 33 today. Rain showers in Kinshasa this morning at 24 with highs of 32 and lows of 24. Beijing goes into Friday afternoon at -6 and cloudy, highs of 4 and to a very cold low of -13. It's cloudy at 8 in Paris, going to highs of 11, and London is cloudy at 6, going to highs of 9. 4 degrees and clear Thursday night in New York, coming into Friday, highs of 6 and lows of 1.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
John Sabwa is confirming that he's streaming live from Lilongwe, specifically Wangeci district in Malawi, and says Malisafi, we say Katundu Wangwiro. I don't believe you. CT,
Katundu, huh?
Katundu Wangwiro is Malisafi.
Well, how do we know he's in Malawi?
We don't. That's the thing. Even me now, I can text somebody and say, greetings from Saskatchewan.
Don't picture with a timestamp.
Yeah.
Yep. This thing of you
on the road.
Yes.
Saying this is Mangucho district.
Yes.
Mangochi
district. At Malisafi is called?
Katundu Wangwiro.
Malisafi.
All right. He can Katundu Ngwiro.
Katundu Ngwiro. It imeingia.
That's fine.
Rushka Isaac says Zakayo Nabi. How are we starting the morning? Good morning, Eric Latif and CT. How are you guys specifically? Desmond is only greeting you. It's Mombasa prisoners want county government to build for them private rooms for private visits. Conjugal rights are rights. Okay? They are. They're not rights.
They are. And you can't perform that act publicly. You will be rearrested.
Exactly.
And taken to the same prison.
Indecency. Indecent public exposure, behavior, whatever. Anyway, as you continue looking at me like that, just continue looking, because Afro-Jamaica is greeting you. And he says, no advisory can stop him from coming to Kenya. Okay. Good morning, Edna, CT, Ndu, and Eric. Kansas City is represented and locked, says Joel Odondi. We have warm weather, but next week looks terrible. We love you people. Omo, have you seen Beijing?
What is warm?
What warm is 0?
Okay.
Matthew Kyoko says, good morning, Ndu, Ras CT. Hey, Ras.
Wagwan.
Ivo. Says, the man who punches up and not down. Please play for me Christmas Wasikuku. What are those? That's a song. Christmas Wasikuku.
You look for it.
Is a song like that? If not, we'll find another one and sing it. Okay. Jeffrey Mogaka says, good morning, great people. Miritini Mombasa Lock, looking forward to great interview. Edna Apewa salamu za dhati kama kawaida. I don't know what those are, but it sounds nice.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, 30. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 30. Like that. That's what we're saying. All right. Zachary Odira says, good morning. Edna, Eric, at last the fuel came down. Tuned in from Mombasa. Good morning, Spice family. Happy Friday. I'm ready for today's conversations. Tuned in from New Jersey. Good morning. Streaming live from Des Moines in Washington. Greetings to the people of Tetu Matuini, says Patrick Wangari. Mwangi says, good morning. Mwananchi from Down Under. Thanks, Eric, for the Cheeto song. It made my afternoon. Okay. Hapo Lucille Tukoredi, says Alex Mnai. Atineke, John Mwangi. Nini? Good morning, everybody. You just ask Neke, you wake up in the morning. Okay. Carol Nyambura says, nawapenda sana. This love of yours is very sweet, especially on a Friday morning, Carol. Thank you very much. Francis Wangoi says, good morning from Karatina. Robert Sibogo is tuning from Mombasa. And Joseph and Derry, switched on and listening from Kitengela. Gogs Amu says, good morning, Spice FM. Tuning from Imara Daima, the ward with the worst and most neglected roads in Nairobi. My friend, have you been inside there? In Imara Daima, the roads?
No, I haven't been.
There, it's actually, have you been to the potholes in Imara Daima?
Are you serious?
It's crazy.
I thought those things were repaired.
You thought?
Yes, I did think.
In Imara Daima?
It's madness.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Lakes and rivers. Don't go chasing water, that kind of thing. Jogona Dongo says, good morning from Doncaster in the UK. Eric Kalindi says, good morning. Toti Bishop says, Woodnam. Sasa hiyo ni nini?
Mtu ya lake.
Yes.
Oh.
Me too, ya lake.
Me too. What's wood is lake?
No.
Oh, wood is mtu.
Nam.
Nam is
wood
lake.
Is son of.
Son of the lake. I get it. I see.
Eric told you, Nani. When he told you,
sorry. It's Friday, watching from the USA. Justice says, good morning. Tony Mohoho says, tune in from Muthiga. Hope for a hot conversation on this cold morning. Eshvan Gikonyo says, Undu Eric City, huyo murukumen ambiwe watu wa si wajinga bwana. Okay. Owen Bosiri is tuned in. Chris Adede says, good morning, Spice. Utawala is locked. Rogers is in Voi, and he says, Mvua Mingi. Jumbo's tuning from Boston in Massachusetts. Daniel Mugambi says, good morning. Quite a number of people online this morning. Salimia Edna Kwanza. Edna. Kwanza, you, then everybody else will be greeted. We are sorry. Edna, Miss Elimika. Raphael Kige says, good morning. More life, Spice FM. Good morning, everybody. Karibuni sana.
Yes. Ati hiyo song ni gani nasema?
Christmas Wakikuku.
Wasi?
Wasikuku.
Utafuta.
I look for Christmas Wasiku. Edna is doing like that.
Utafuta. City? Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Hello. City.
I'm with you.
Okay.
All right. Did I mention this proverb? But tell me if I had mentioned it. Okay. I'm just going to read it anyway. Rather than get up and do a bad dance.
No, you hadn't.
Okay, thank you. Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
I agree.
You had done it.
That's what I thought.
But was it from this week?
Djibouti. Was it from Djibouti?
Yes. It was this week. Remember, I was reading 2 proverbs and I said,
yes, and then we took the first one.
Yes.
Okay, so now this is okay for today, voila.
No, but there's another proverb if you don't mind.
We can do the dance.
We can do the dance?
Yeah.
All right. Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
That is very limiting. They don't like creativity. These people.
And anyway, there's nothing like a bad dance. Sincerely.
But dance in whose opinion?
Even if you're dancing the next 2 songs, it doesn't matter. The key thing is you're dancing.
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
Yes, no, I disagree here. You want to dance? Yeah, you dance.
Ndio, imepatikana.
Kabla mfanye hiyo, Brian Obara amesalimia kabisa.
Obizi.
Obizi in the house. Good morning, sir. How are you? Answer us now. Tell us how you are quickly. Now.
Very good.
What is he doing when we wake at this hour?
Well, you know.
Akona mkutano.
Oh, so he's on his way to the meeting. All right, fine.
He's in the meeting.
But you do know it's raining because Obizi rides a bike. With this rain, bicycle riding can be hazardous.
It can.
Aya, cheza wimbo, tuende nini? Headlines. It does exist.
There's actually a song.
Kioko ndatayonekie dasenya mundu kila umwiwe wamyonie suo mwikuicha kioko ndatayonekie dasenya mundu kila umwiwe wamyonie leto ikaumila shuali ni kusya iwe mwana mutangi tuende yutuka mwone leto ikaumila
Talking about that, what was this? The star from the east. What was it?
It was the star from the east.
He's talking about that. So the star was very bright, and everybody saw it, and then they were like, "Hiya, a baby has been born," and it's a Yesu.
And that is Klitzimasi.
Klitzimasi wasikuku by Chris Ndonye. Mse kendo kecha Yesu kemuyo.
City said.
Ikitu ya Yesu ni tamu.
City said. Usually you have an intro for the song. You start slowly. So where these guys go?
Why do you want to start slowly?
When you can start immediately.
Kendo kecha Yesu kemuyo.
Sawa basi.
Yes. Headlines basi.
On the front page of the Standard this morning, Freedom for Rotich exposes state agencies after a 4-year trial that saw 49 witnesses lined up to testify. With the prosecution having no questions for the majority of them, former Treasury CS Henry Rotich and 8 others are cleared in the 65 billion shillings Kimrare and Aror Dam scandal. Who dropped the ball is the question.
Okay.
Ruto is after me over 15 billion shillings whistleblowing, says who? Dr. Margaret Nyakango. Controller of budget in a case in the High Court takes on President William Ruto, claiming that his government wanted her out of the office, purportedly for whistleblowing on the release of 15 billion shillings from public coffers. Slight reprieve as cost of fuel is down by 5 shillings. High taxes, debt to hit the economy is what we're looking at in the business pages. And on The Nation this morning, Treasury puts caps on office lunch and tea. Okay.
It's been done before, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Let's look at the details of this one later. But I'll just go quickly. Transport provision for one of official duty capped at 5,000 shillings from the current 10. Officers now encouraged to use safe online taxis and public transport. You understand?
No, I don't.
You will not be using driver and double cab anyhow. You will now use Uber or Matatu. So long as it is safe, you're okay. Use of local flights limited to CS, PS, PAs, DGs, directors and heads of department. All of you, the rest of you will use SGR. Assistants and clerks and all of these people will use SGR.
And who's going to determine and who's going to monitor and who's going to ensure
and make sure that it's not the thing
that's happening?
Meetings and task force activities.
Who takes flights anyway?
Anyway, yeah.
The junior officers seldom take flights.
Yes, so
it doesn't make a difference.
That's what I'm asking.
We are going for a meeting in Naivasha. Not Naivasha. We're for a meeting in Mombasa.
Yes. Junior officers are taking the bus or the SGR anyway.
Takes a flight.
Yes.
The rest of you? Do the thing.
The wasteful ones, the driver goes to Mombasa with your car and And you fly.
You fly.
Your car meets you in Mombasa.
To take you round and round. Then you come back flying. The driver drives back. Meetings and task force activities to be held in boardrooms. Nothing like let's go retreat to Rift Valley Lodge. No, stay in the boardroom.
It's called the Great Rift Valley.
Thank you, that one. Approvals for training suspended. Lunches, teas and snacks rationalised. Impress cut by 50%. Fuel card limits to be set on available budgets. Okay, so say ça. A man who hacked a university girl to death is jailed for 40 years. Naftali Kinothia, when he appeared before Justice Stephen Githinji on the 3rd of March in this picture, the Thika-based IT expert who was found guilty for killing Moi University 6th-year medical student Ivy Wangeci outside a hospital gate in Eldoret 4 years ago was yesterday sentenced to 40 years in prison after prosecutors proved the case beyond reasonable doubt. How DPP let Rotich 8 others off the hook in the dams case. We'll look at the details of that. Back to the drawing board as HIV vaccine trials have been stopped. That one doesn't seem to be working. And on the back page of The Nation, World Bank says low-wage jobs are derailing poverty fight. Essentially, if you want to get rid of poverty, if you want to eliminate poverty, you cannot continue paying people these low wages. It is not possible because you keep them at a particular place. You want to get rid of poverty, you need to start increasing the amount of money that you pay to people. We'll look at the merits and demerits of that in that story later. C'est ça? Voilà.
C'est ça. The Business Daily, it says, why Kibaki was Kenya's best chief executive, according to the World Bank. A new World Bank report has pointed to why the late President Mwai Kibaki was Kenya's best boss. Yet, after his economic policies did the most to cut poverty rates, especially among rural households, in the period between 2005 and 2015. The report, which was unveiled yesterday, noted that the massive reduction in poverty during this period also coincided with a period when GDP per capita grew faster, with private consumption playing a bigger role. We'll talk about that maybe shortly. EPRA cuts fuel prices by the biggest margin in 2 years. That's the headline. Ticker headlines. Treasury cuts travel perks, air travel, lunch in new austerity. Peter Njonjo steps down as Twiga CEO after funding round. He's taken a 6-month leave of absence from office. It was announced by the board yesterday. Jumia to close down food delivery. The e-commerce platform has announced plans to shut down its food delivery business in all the 7 markets it operates in, including Kenya, by the end of this month, citing unfavorable market conditions. Jumia Foods, gone. They've decided, it's too competitive.
It's too complicated.
Because it's too competitive now, there are many other players, so you're always competing with this downward pressure on your margins. And you have then to spend a lot more to market yourself so that people can use you. They're like,
it's okay.
Kuleni mawe. City.
Okay. Siasa. The Star. Visa policy. Benefits of flattened borders in Kenya, no brainer. Okay. 63 billion dam scandal. Rotich acquitted as reckless prosecutor censured in court. Raila suffers major blow as ODM rebels triumph in court. Stories on page 8. Same story. Kinothia gets 40-year jail term for Wangeci murder. We removed the death penalty, didn't we?
Yeah.
This guy.
It hasn't been officially removed. It's just there's a bill in Parliament by Opio and I
to actually have it removed.
To remove it.
Yeah. There are people on death row, but the last time Kenya actually executed anybody,
it's been commuted to life sentences.
Yeah, it's been commuted to life sentences.
Yes.
So, bang in the middle of the paper, darkness. Some applicants have been kept waiting for 11 years to be connected. This is a story about Kenya Power. The Auditor General has made some...
people applied 11 years ago.
Yeah, and have not received power, and they paid. So she's actually saying some 12 billion shillings can be attributed to people who had actually paid for power and did not get their power.
Loss or gain? 12 billion shillings.
You, me, pay for power.
So 12
many
billion.
of us, it comes to that amount.
We've paid 12 billion.
The total, but power
not come.
Exposed trouble with Kenya Power. It's a long story, this one. It's on page 4 and 5. Auditor report shows managers paid some ghost suppliers more than 488 million. It's a lengthy story. Then, bang in the middle again, police roll out new uniform with name, force number on display. Okay. You know, it's going to be really, really difficult to distinguish between a police officer and a security guard. No, sincerely.
Pourquoi?
Uniform.
Oh, right.
There must be some logic behind changing the uniform. I don't get it, though. What is wrong with the other uniforms?
The baby blues.
They were working. I mean, they were working.
Yeah, they were working.
Yeah, they were okay.
So rebranding.
Okay. Rebranding. Then on page 3, we will save endangered white rhino, says research director. The rhino in question is the northern white rhino. And the ones that remain can be found in Alpageta Conservancy. Big animals, but they seem very tame, very quiet. I can see people just walking around them. I personally would not walk around them.
Oh, yeah. Let's take this break then. 24 minutes to 7. The Nairobian is out also today. The headline for the Nairobian today is Bishop Kuna, my 460 million shillings cancer battle. They've given it a 2-page spread, The Flashy Faith, Alan Kuna's astonishing cancer journey and lavish love story. I did not part with a single coin from my pocket because God provided. I did not even call anyone, but 460 million shillings was paid.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, a little bit of it's coming off the Thika Superhighway and then into the city. We're looking at that bumper-to-bumper situation at the Pakani underpass. That's going to continue for some time. Haile Selassie, heavy traffic, in and outbound. It's coming in from the Kamkunji roundabout hot and looks like it's going to spread its way through past railways. Let's see what's coming in from Gong Road. Not much right now, but it looks like Haile Selassie is the place where all vehicles are meeting this morning. Jago Road is starting to build up as you get towards the City Stadium roundabout. It's heavy coming in from the Makadara train station, and some of that coming in from Manyanja Road, crossing over. And then you touch on Outer Ring just a little bit. Kamkunji, like we said, that's going to be one to watch for a while. Gong Road, again, not too bad coming in from the junction, and Langata Road is looking pretty good right about now as well. Okay, eyes on everything. Let's see how Friday morning pans out. The rains are still coming down in some parts, so that means slippery roads and a few puddles here and there, so you want to be careful about how you move. Let's then talk on SpiceFM KE on X and keep things moving this morning.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's been a quest for justice by the family of a final year Moore University medical student who was hacked to death with an axe by her estranged lover and has seen her killer jailed for 40 years. Naftali Kinothia, who is a Thika-based IT expert, found guilty of killing the 6th-year medical student Ivy Wangeci outside a hospital in Eldoret 4 years ago, was sentenced to 40 years in prison yesterday after prosecutors proved the case beyond reasonable doubt. Now remember that they did find him guilty, and then of course now the sentencing hearing took place yesterday. The family has been planning. Wangeci, who was then 25, was due to graduate in a few months. The family was planning a surprise party to celebrate her academic milestone but the dream was cut short when she met her untimely demise on the morning of April 9th, 2019, and she was on an internship at the time of her death. Her killer and childhood friend was Jomo Kenyatta University Computer Science graduate Naftali Kinothia, who hacked her twice on the head with an axe in broad daylight outside the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret at around 10 in the morning. He had tried to flee the scene, but angry border riders who witnessed the incident chased him and pelted him with stones before he was rescued by police officers from the patrol station. The riders had nearly lynched him and even tried to set him on fire. He suffered severe burns and was rushed to the MTRH, where he was treated under tight security by police officers from Nairobi police station. Now, that Tuesday, he had travelled from Thika, where he worked, to Eldoret for a surprise birthday party to visit his longtime partner. It was the eve of her birthday, and she had invited friends to celebrate with her, but Kinuthia, who had been estranged for whatever reason, was not amongst the invited friends. Things turned sour between the two after the victim allegedly rebuffed his advances, basically a leave me alone kind of thing. He confessed to the crime. There was no debate there. Telling the Eldoret court that he was overcome with jealousy when he saw that his then girlfriend embracing another man in front of him. He's the firstborn in a family of 4, and he told the court that he had spent more than 200,000 shillings on this girl and that she was bitter, and he was bitter rather, that she always ignored him. So that morning he said, and I quote, "I saw my beloved embracing another man. I cannot even recount the moment I decided to pick up the axe from my car." One would ask, why is there an axe in your car? But okay. Which I had parked near the MTRH emergency room, and I was not myself, he said. The convict told the court during these sessions. Yesterday's verdict was delivered virtually by the Malindi High Court Judge Reuben Githinji, who had earlier found the accused guilty of murder. The judge noted that the accused subjected the deceased to a painful death and therefore deserved the death penalty, which has been abolished in Kenya, hence the 40-year sentence. He said the manner in which the deceased lost her life was brutal and painful, hence the accused deserved a sentence that reflected the gravity of the offence. It followed 4 years of hearings during which several witnesses, including Wangeci's close friends, testified that the two had had a frosty relationship. The Kinuthia had confessed before the Eldoret court about hacking her to death, and he said it was out of anger after she rejected him for another man, despite allegedly minting money from him. And he described it as an act of provocation, telling the court that he was overwhelmed by anger, fearing that his childhood friend had betrayed him. And at that point, he was incensed with this anger and knew no other way but to take the axe and do what he did.
Hey, this thing. So he had an axe
in his car.
In fact, the judge said there are other smaller axes with wooden handles. This guy had a metal axe with a metal handle, claiming that he had it in his car for security reasons. The judge says, I do not agree with him. If he had no intention to kill, he had the opportunity to attack the victim using his bare fist. He had an axe and a knife. He used the axe.
I mean,
it's just, whoa.
Crazy.
He just says, I know the prosecution is seeking the death penalty, but no. I will not give the death penalty. I don't think an axe, the court cannot buy the idea of a tooth for a tooth and an eye for an eye. But he needs a stiff sentence. And that's why the 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at a photo of Kinuthia's mother, Nancy Kinuthia. She's sitting there. She's looking. She's like, I brought you up. You went through university. You had a bright future.
Yep.
What is this that got into you? Because much as we talk about Kinuthia himself, let's not forget, the mother did not send him to go and kill.
No, she didn't. She sent him to school.
So the mother is just sitting there and looking at one, and she's also in pain. She's also losing her son. Yeah. Well, he's not dead. She can visit him. But 40 years, that's it. You're done. You're gone. Still in the courts, yesterday, there's somebody who was not happy at all. At all. And this is the Milimani Anti-Corruption Court Magistrate, Eunice Nyutu.
Oh, is she angry?
Eunice Nyutu is so livid. She's like, look, prosecutor goes and receives a report from investigating agency. Prosecutor says, I want to bring people to charge in court over the Aurora and Kimorer dam issue. Case begins. Prosecutor dances on this matter left, right, center, and he says, she's like, out of 49 witnesses, only 8 testified. and they were cross-examined by the defense team. 41 prosecution witnesses only took the witness stand, but the prosecution opted not to ask questions.
What are you talking about? I didn't read
The
that
prosecution has listed 49 witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
41 of them come to court. They are sworn. Do you swear? Yes, I swear. Do you understand you're in court? Yes, you're in court. Okay, prosecution proceed. Prosecution says, we have no question for with this.
But they are prosecution witnesses.
Yes. 41 witnesses. The
They
prosecution
didn't ask one question.
Not a single question.
So what were they coming to witness?
No. Why did they bring in the first place?
They're witnesses. That means that they have something to witness.
No, and they are your witnesses.
Or there's something that they have witnessed. So they are coming to report on their having witnessed something.
Now you understand why this lady is so livid. She's
grief.
like, the prosecution from the get-go wanted this case to collapse.
die. They knew
it
what
was
they were
just
doing.
a whole thing for Nini, for drama, but it comes to court, it collapses. 8 witnesses testified. 41 witnesses were called. They appeared. They did not testify. It was just back and forth. And she says, you know what? I find that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has bungled this case deliberately.
Let me ask you something. The system that Kenya uses, can you actually hold a prosecutor as a state officer in contempt?
Yes, you can.
Because I don't understand the nitty-gritty of the law in that case, in that sense.
I'm not sure
But I
about
would be
holding the
just-
prosecutor in contempt directly unless they disobey an order.
Or unprocedural conduct, for example.
Yeah.
Because doesn't it make sense? This is the way it works. You call witnesses. The reason why you have a list of witnesses is because there's vital or crucial information that they could give towards this case. You are acting on behalf of the state and you bring in this number of witnesses. They have something to offer. So I agree with the magistrate, actually. If you bring people to come and do fashion parade in court, you actually have nothing to ask them, then why are you wasting time? And this is a charge that you brought.
You are the one who went publicly arrested people from in office. A CS, a PS, and other senior officials, brought them to court. All right? And you said you have a case. You believe you have a strong case. And then you don't prosecute that case. And it goes on and on and on. It was injunction after injunction. Then you said, no, bring your witnesses. The witness comes. Prosecution says we have nothing to ask.
Somewhere along the way, there was like a deal with the then PS. Deal, you walk free, you testify against your boss. So one person out. Rotich remained. Now here we are with the other 8. Is there another story?
Do you blame anybody who now says that actually it's possible that the office of the DPP was just doing
the office of the DPP? In fact, this magistrate says, I am directing that what I am reading here be taken to the office of the Attorney General and to the National Council on the Administration of Justice for them to discuss the conduct of the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the individual prosecutors that handle this case.
Or that declines
in their individual capacity.
Yes.
They ought to be discussed because you cannot do this. This is an affront to justice. It goes against the entirety of... Look at Rotich himself. Let's just look at Rotich, the accused. So he's gone through all this thing.
He's been sacked.
He's been sacked from office. He can't get a job. He's not been earning on all this time. Let's assume that, yes, he's innocent. Okay. So all those years that you were taking him through this drama and circus.
Only for you to come and say that there's nothing.
Yeah.
He's persona non grata amongst his family. He's persona non grata amongst his colleagues. Everybody in the community. Kenya hears his name today. And all you're going to do is look at him through a guilty eye. Yeah. Nothing else. You will say this is a thug who stole money from government coffers to be able to do 1, 2, 3. That is how you're going to look at him forever. Only for you to come years later and say, actually, you know what? Let's just let this thing go. It is actually an affront to justice. It is.
All those cases that have collapsed so spectacularly just raise questions. In 2018 or thereabouts, when Uhuru appointed Nuruddin Haji as the DPP and said, you know what, now we've got a dragon slayer in our office and he's going to slay the dragon. And he went around saying, I'm going to slay the dragon. And you can see what I'm doing. ordering the arrest of so-and-so, ordering the arrest of so-and-so, and taking them to court, and I've got a strong case. And all of them, you see how spectacularly they're collapsing. In this case, this particular case, the judicial officer is saying the director of public prosecutions clearly had no intention of proceeding with this case. From all indications, the DPP brought a case to court just to waste our time
and money and resources.
Yeah.
That's it. I agree.
It can't be about political pressure all the time.
I beg you.
No, it can't be. We have given you protection in the Constitution.
As an independent.
Yes.
As an independent office.
And because you are a person of high moral integrity, you have the opportunity to resign and come out and say, you know what? There's too much pressure here. I cannot take it. Somebody else come and take the job. I cannot do this kind of job. The individual prosecutors who were going to court, let's say that they were getting orders from above to go to court and dance around. You have individual responsibility. There are people who have suffered. These are the high-profile cases. Can you imagine the small cases that are bungled like this just because the prosecutor didn't feel this case? And there you are, you're in remand, you cannot raise the bond or bail. The office of the DPP ought to be investigated.
I think so. It brings into question your authenticity as this office.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Siti, you have a story, right?
Yes. I do. Let's look at why it is we need to save the rhino.
Okay.
The Wildlife Research and Training Institute is calling for urgent measures to save the northern white rhino from extinction. The government research institution in Naivasha said it had partnered with several scientists to save the only two of the animals remaining in all Pejeta Conservancy that is located in Laikipia County. This comes weeks after the institution listed the number of endangered species in the country, which included the black rhino, gravy zebra. Did you know there's a zebra called the gravy zebra? And several species of antelopes. Institute Director Dr. Patrick Omondi said they were undertaking cutting-edge research to save the remaining two females in the conservancy. He said they were working closely with All Pejeta Conservancy, Institute of Zoo and Wildlife Research, Berlin, Germany, Zoo something or the other, and something or the other in Italy. I'm saying something or the other because
they're long names.
I can't pronounce these things. Okay. There's one I can pronounce, Laventa Lab. Okay. With only two female northern white rhinos remaining in the world. Okay. We have embarked on a major research to save the species from extinction. The director added that the institute was working on various research programs which include mapping biodiversity hotspot and identification of threats to marine species. The story has gone south. Here we are talking about rhino. This guy has already gone now
to marine.
Bwana.
And the gravy zebra. The gravy zebra is facing extinction. There's a time when it was. I think now it is repopulating nicely. It's in the north. The gravy zebra is found in the north. They have
but they're less than 30.
Tightest, less than 30?
Yes.
No. I've seen many gravy zebras at Meru National Park.
I'm trying to tell you.
Maybe what they have at Olpejeta is they're less than 30.
Yes, but I'm telling you, they've written here. So this guy may have misreported. Because even me, I've seen very many zebras, whether it's the gravy one or not, but I've seen
the zebras found on this side, the south, are different from those found in the north.
Really?
Yep.
They all have stripes?
Yeah. Now, it's the pattern of the stripes.
The pattern of the stripes that distinguishes
the gravy
them.
Zebra has... Gravy zebra upon the other one is called the Maasai zebra or something.
Types of zebra. I cannot tell the difference. So the stripes, some go horizontally, some go vertical.
No, they're all vertical, but the gravy zebra has sort of like a fine pattern.
A finer pattern.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, the other ones are bigger, then these ones are small.
Okay.
The big photo is the kawaida zebra, the one you've seen. The one you see at the Nairobi National Park and along the highway going to Nakuru.
This animal is actually a very beautiful animal, isn't it?
Then the smaller one now, the one with the finer pattern that looks almost like a Turkish thingy. This is the kawaida zebra, the plain zebra. No. This is what we have. The plain zebra is what we see. Bigger, thicker.
I have seen.
Thicker stripes. The gravy zebra has smaller, thinner stripes.
Yes.
And all of them just coming down. Right? See?
Now that you mention, it is clear. Anyway, this article says there are only 30 in the country, but let's leave the story right there.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me tell you really quickly. Ruto is after me, not me, Ndu. Well, okay. But it's Dr. Margaret Nyakango. And she says the story says that the control of budget, Margaret Nyakango, in a case in which the High Court she now takes on President William Ruto, claiming that his government wanted her out of the office purportedly for whistleblowing on the release of 15 billion shillings from the public coffers. 6 billion shillings is the amount that the government bought Telkom Kenya shares for in a controversial deal with Helios. The court has stopped the EACC from charging Dr. Nyakango over the sale, which they were saying that they were going to bring charges against her for that because she was involved in it, right? Now, with all of this going on, she's come out to say, look, the only reason why all of this is happening is that the executive is after me because she says she's being persecuted over Telkom. She went on to say that the criminal charges against her in Mombasa and the EAC's recommendation that she be charged are part of a wider scheme to remove her from office. She claimed that she was never summoned to answer questions about the Telkom sale. According to her, she's being persecuted for being a whistleblower. She says, I am reasonably perturbed with the news that I am likely to be charged in relation to an inquiry into allegations of conflict of interest and corruption in the acquisition of Telkom Kenya shares by the government of Kenya from the Helios Investment Limited at a cost of 6 billion. She said, I have reasons to believe that a politically orchestrated endeavor has been hatched to maliciously soil my reputation as a result of my recent whistleblowing, where I was coerced to approve a release of 15 billion shillings from public coffers. Her lawyer, Danstan Omari, argued she enjoys security of tenure and can only be removed from office through a disciplinary process. According to him, Dr. Nyakango has never been asked to respond to this Telkom sale issue or given a show cause letter on the same. He said she's being haunted for other issues unrelated to her office woes.
So, she's talked about the previous administration doing this Telkom deal days to the election. This current administration keeps singing every day about that. You see, even the control of budget told us. Why would they be going after her because of that?
She said, plus all the things
why would they be hounding her out of office? Because of whistleblowing on what Uhuru and Nani allegedly did.
No. She's talking about the 15 billion that she claims she was coerced into releasing.
When?
Read that article.
But that was at Uhuru's time.
Yes. Yes. Now, that's what she's saying.
So why would Ruto be after her?
Does it make sense?
Unless the story is mixing up issues.
Have we not understood this thing?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
That's the reasoning that has been given as to why. Me thinks that she would have said about the reports, the damning reports that she's been releasing in the last couple of months, that possibly would want to. But the reason that they give clearly here is that.
Okay, going to the top of the hour. City, you know Sir David Attenborough?
Yes.
You do know him, eh?
Yes.
Ruth says that you sound like you could be Kenya's Sir Attenborough. You should be doing animal narrations. And
This
here
is the
we see the
giraffe.
Gravy zebra.
I love the way he says giraffe. And here we find the gravy zebra along the plains of the what?
And here we find the striped hyena.
Otherwise known as
News
cheetah.
time. It's 7 a.m.
Sugar and spice and everything I spice FM.
spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has assured North Rift Valley residents that his government will deal with the criminals behind banditry attacks. President Ruto said that the officers deployed to patrol the area will only leave when calm returns.
Hapa North Rift tuko na askari wa jeshi 1,500. Hapa North Rift tuko na askari wa polisi wengine 3,000. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie hawa askari hawawezi kutoka hapa mpaka wakora wote na wezi wa mifugo wote tumalizane na wao.
He further said that schools affected by insecurity will be renovated and security heightened to ensure learners return to school come January.
Mashule yote ambayo yalifungwa hapa, nimesema hizo mashule lazima sifunguliwe. Tutaifanyia ukarabati, zile zimeharibika tutajenga upya, na baadaye tunataka kuweka boarding school kwa kila shule, ndio watoto wakae shuleni wasome, ili wasiende wakakosa masomo kwa sababu wakienda nyumbani kuna matatizo.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in his part defended Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen against accusations of negligence at work after the power outage at JKIA Sunday.
Na huyu Kipchumba anajaribu, na kuna wengine niliona wanamkemea ati ajiuzuru ati kwa sababu generator imekataa kufanya kazi pale JKIA. Huyu Kipchumba ndiye alinunua hiyo generator. Ilinunuliwa na ile serikali nyingine na ilikuwa fake. Sasa ikijaribu kuhakishwa inazimika. Sasa Kipchumba, wewe tafuta generator yako uweke, wachana na ile watu.
Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo has urged motorists to exercise caution during the upcoming festive season. In a statement, Omolo admitted that the festive season typically sees increased travel across the country and a surge in road accidents frequently linked to reckless driving. Additionally, Omolo advised motorists to avoid driving under the influence of alcohol. The Interior PS similarly urged motorists to be wary of the ongoing El Nino rains, which can significantly reduce visibility for drivers, leading to accidents. Private vehicles take the lead in road accidents. This is according to Peter Odhiambo, Assistant Superintendent of Police at the Traffic Department headquarters. Personal vehicles are the leading cause of accidents on our roads, followed by motorcyclists, then truck drivers, matatus that come a distant fourth. Despite the focus on public service vehicles, Odhiambo emphasized the need for private vehicle drivers to adhere to traffic rules. And President William Ruto says his government will not relent on the Social Health Insurance Fund and will take on cartels in the Health Ministry head-on. Speaking in Baringo during the annual Kimalel Gold auction, President Ruto said deep-rooted cartels have been looting the Ministry of Health and engaging in fraud. He says the fund will be implemented at all costs, as he accused what he termed as cartels of sponsoring cases in court against the program.
We are not going to accept blackmail because the characters who are sponsoring court cases against UHC are the people who are beneficiaries of corruption in NHIF, people who have corrupted our health institutions. Hiyo mambo ya kuiba huko Ministry of Health tutaisimamisha. Unajua watu wengi kwa sababu wamekuwa wafanyabiashara matapeli katika sekta ya health.
6 suspects were arraigned at the Maua Law Courts in Meru County in connection to a daring December 6th incident that saw an unruly mob break into a police armory before stealing a loaded AK-47. The 6, David Kaberia, Felix Kimathi, Bernard Mutuma, Pius Ntongai, Elid Mukiri, and Erastus Mwenda were all denied bail by the court. The case will be mentioned on January 10th, 2024. The Council of Religious Leaders under the banner of Patriarchal Spiritual Leaders has called on the Parliament to quickly pass a bill in Parliament against same-sex marriage. The leaders, led by founding Bishop of the Redeemed Gospel Church, Archbishop Arthur Kitonga, have emphasized that same-sex marriage is against the instructions of the Bible. They also asserted their support for Second Lady Pastor Dorcas Rigathi in fighting the war against these marriages. This comes as a bill was moved to Kenya's apex court by Homa Bay Town MP George Peter Opondo Kaluma, who vowed to contest a ruling on the registration of an LGBTQ lobby group by the Supreme Court. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
It's busy coming in from Landis Road this morning, inbound traffic to the CBD and then on to Haile Selassie. Very, very busy. In and outbound traffic on Haile Selassie is also bumper to bumper. It's Friday, so it's going to get just a little bit crazy. And the rain coming down, so we're looking at, a lot happening right there at that at the market. So something to watch out for. On Uhuru Highway, it's also busy. Look at your junctions coming in from the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. It's going to touch on Lusaka and then going out towards Bunyala. That's going to be busy. And then Haile Selassie as well. As you're heading out then towards Westlands, and that's coming in from University Way, there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic there. So that's busy. The Thika Superhighway building up with traffic all the way past Survey. And then coming in from the Utali Drift, there's traffic here as well. As you're coming out of Spring Valley and then further ahead, Lower Kabete, before that, not too bad. But Limuru Road will pack up as we get closer to traffic hour. That we can be sure of. So just plan ahead for that. Gong Road not looking too bad as you're getting into the city. So it's one to watch. Let's see what's going on as we're getting into traffic hour. In about half hour or so, we'll talk on Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation
7 minutes
Room.
after 7, how are you doing on this 15th day of December 2023? Happy Friday. Is it a happy Friday?
We're getting there.
Mafuta imeshuka bwana. Hata kama ni shilingi moja. You celebrate. So why are you looking at me like that? It's true.
Bro, you are happy with that truism.
Yes. If it works, it works.
If it works, it works. I mean, even if it's a thimble of, worth of what reduction, it is a reduction. So it is good. Yes.
Okay. Now, Ati, what's that headline in The Nation today?
In The Nation, on the front page, Treasury puts caps on office lunch and tea. No more salmon.
No more salmon. No more mandas.
It will be reduced. If you used to eat 4, like you just come into the office, 4, now it will be 2.
So they are cutting that at a chai.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to travel,
for officers, you would be using public transport or online apps. You wouldn't just be saying, driver, take me to point X. How are you going? Take the bus or
take bus.
Take matatu.
And this is for state and public officers.
Yes, please.
State and public officers.
Officers are now encouraged to use safe online taxis and public transport.
Encouraged.
Yeah, because there'll be no money too.
There'll be no money, so we are just encouraging you.
They're giving you an alternative.
That's
not you come and bring impressed for fuel.
Look, anyway.
So we have a message for all public servants this morning and state officers. Now that you will no longer use those big vehicles on the roads and you just wacha nikimbia hapa meeting, you've been told to use safe online apps. We have one for you. It's Kenyan, made by Kenyans for Kenyans. It's called Maramoja Taxi. It's a taxi hailing app. Maramoja Taxi. Download it right now on Google Play Store, Apple App Store.
Yes.
Why them?
Because you want a taxi nearby. They're everywhere. So you're in the middle of the city, you need a taxi to go hail it in 2 minutes, it's there. Everybody wants to deal with somebody they can trust, not any kind of driver who just come and telling you stories. No, somebody you can trust, take you to where you're going, come.
Even Jogona Dongo has told you, look for a trustworthy taxi.
So now they said they're trustworthy. Also, imagine you still have you like that thing of sitting back left in the State Department vehicle.
Yes,
you can still do it in Maramoja. You can have a private driver. You can feel you can still enjoy
You'll
the luxury
still feel like
of
a boss.
private vehicle. You can still feel like a boss.
Only that it's not written GK. Which we can organize in GK.
In fact, you can print your own GK and be walking with it in your suitcase, your bag, and now you can talk to the driver if they can.
Maramoja taxi is the way to go. It's Kenyan. We'll be telling you more about it. Download it today. Use it. Available in various towns. It's available in Nairobi. It's available in Nakuru, in Mombasa, in Eldoret, in Naivasha, in Kisumu. Available. Ona Naivasha. Rekatik. Ona Kisumu. Rekatik. Those meeting places. It's available.
Don't worry.
Our next guest is also working in government now. He's the first speaker of Elgeyo Marakwet County, serving between 2013 and 2017. Currently, he is a board director for the Communication Authority, Dr. Albert Kochei. Daktari, habari?
Mzuri sana.
Karibu sana.
Nimefurahi sana kuwa mahali hapa. It always gives me a lot of pleasure to be back here. This, and I think it's on record, I've said it before, and I want to repeat it again. This is the only radio that real issues are discussed. I normally call it the epicenter of wisdom in every morning. I know we have the lady and the two gentlemen oozing wisdom every day, and this is a real situational room.
The Communication Authority has said, sisi hata tukiongea mbaya.
Oh Lord.
It is wisdom.
Yeah.
Even though moments when we just go like this, it is wisdom.
Yes.
It's wisdom. Karibu sana.
Yes. Asante sana.
But you're not here today in your capacity as a CA director. You're coming here so that we can talk about something that you've noticed in the community in Kenya. We'll talk about it shortly. CT has the day's proverb. This week's proverbs are from Djibouti.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are from the Republic of Djibouti.
Yes.
A very interesting country. Unique. I'll repeat this. I mentioned it yesterday. Remember, 70% of Djiboutians actually live in the urban areas. 70.
How many urban areas are there in Djibouti?
And how many Djiboutians are there?
1 million.
There are 1 million Djiboutians.
70% of them live in urban areas.
700,000 of them
live in urban areas. That can only be one.
Did they have rural areas?
B.
South B. CBD.
Have you guys been to Djibouti?
I have actually.
No, not
some
you.
Great fish.
I haven't.
But the point you make is a valid one. It is. When you live, how many are we in the city? 5 million now?
Yes.
Just before
5 million.
something.
Before
5 million during the day, 4 million at night.
We're very many.
The entire population of Djibouti moves out of Nairobi to go and sleep somewhere, and they come back following day.
Right.
The proverb?
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put. Dr. Kochei, what's your interpretation of this one?
In my community, they say that when you realize that you cannot control, put water in your mouth and shut up.
Say it in that language. What language is it?
That is in Kalenjin.
Which one? Elgeyo, you are from Elgeyo Marakwet, so it has to be either one of those. Keyo. Okay.
Yeah, they say, inyit pe gotit, fill your mouth with water, so that then you can be able to control yourself.
Kana maji kwa mdomo ndio usiongee.
Yes.
Fua.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it goes the same with this one. Rather than dancing, Hebu say it, City.
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
Stay put. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. There's something that you posted on social media recently,
Yes.
Dr. Kochei. And I'm
It's
going to
actually
read
yesterday.
it. It was yesterday, yeah?
Yes.
On your Facebook
Yes.
page.
Yes.
And let me read it. Fungua. It is highly advisable to all parents to ensure that they send their children abroad for studies when they have matured enough to cope with culture shock. Avoid sending from 4 levers unless otherwise. Some feedback is not settling well. What do you mean?
Good friends, one, today I'm bleeding. One is I'm a parent. And as a parent, I have a duty of care to my children. I am having a conversation that I believe we might not have wanted to dare address it. It's a conversation that I believe, and I want to, with a lot of honor, really thank you for giving me the platform so that we can be able to escalate this conversation and to deliver it in the speed and the manner at which it deserves. I am aware, fully aware, that we might not have done it before. And I'm aware that we are living in really hard economic times. And this began way back in 2020 when we had all these issues of COVID. So by mentioning COVID, it means the economic hard time that we have is not only for Kenya, it's across the board. And out of this, there have been a lot of conversation on how then do we better our lives. From 2020, some countries like Australia opened up and they were looking for immigrants just to go and do the basic labor job, the casual jobs. And all of us, we always want to see things getting better at home. And we have a situation whereby there has been a mass immigration to countries like Australia, like Canada, to be particular countries like Australia and Canada, for children to go and study. But this morning, I am not addressing the government where I belong. I'm addressing a parent. Kwa Kiswahili tunasema wazazi. When I grew up Shiti, father and mother would have a discussion with us. Would ask you, Albert, what do you want to become when you grow up? You'd say, I want to, first of all, those boys at the age of 12, all of us want to be in military, obviously. We just want to be military. Like for me, I really wanted to be playing drums in the military, There was something. And out of that, you could even engage the high school and primary school teachers, the pastors, so that then you can be able of where you want to go, reaching it out. We are having a situation whereby children want to go and study abroad. We have not been in a position to ask the big question, the why. When we answer the why, then it is the how. That why, how, and where must be a discussion between a child and a parent. So that then you can be able to understand how then are these things, whether it's going to be in line with what the child would want. So I wrote that thing yesterday because of the many concerns that they've received from Australia, to be particularly. We, as a leader, as a community leader, I attend fundraising virtually every weekend. I mean, if you go to my WhatsApp group, there are over 20 WhatsApp groups, all in the name of we are having children to go to Australia. Or you want to have to go children to Canada. And then I discovered that as we continuously release children to go to Australia or to Canada, we have not been able to handle and to discuss the feedback. And this is the feedback I want to report. Number one, we have a situation whereby there is rampant depression. There is rampant depression. There is a whole aspect of loneliness. There is a lot of pressure. There is a lot of pressure both academically and again way back at home. And if you look at it critically, you will actually discover that we have not been in a position to prepare our children on what they are going to expect when they leave JKIA. It is shocking and disheartening that some of us as parents, we have succumbed to the pressure of the children admiring and desiring to go outside the country to study, yet they have not been assessed, both first of all as a parent, in terms of maturity. It cannot be today that as a parent, I release a 15, 16-year-old child to go and study abroad. This is a child that has not been in JKIA. This is a child that has not been in Nairobi. This is a child that has not been in Nakuru, Nyeri. They came from high school to the village, Terminal 1A, to Sydney. That is it. They've never lived in what we call hostel. Just the life of hostel. They've never understood how to handle hurdles. They've never understood how do we deal with. You go to some of the countries and there's one first thing, the culture shock. There is, and then the other thing, they've never been briefed of what does it take to settle in a place like Australia. We are talking about the kind of job that they are going to work. They have no idea. Literally, they have no idea. Some of the people, and I've seen, if you look at my Facebook page, a lot of people outside there like, tell our young people what they see in the social media. Things go ground, different.
So what you're saying, Daktari, is you're raising concern that this is a young boy or girl.
Yes.
Who has been under care of somebody.
Correct.
At home, there's a parent. In school, there's a community, the teachers and the head teacher. They've gone, let's say, to a day school or to a boarding school. They're under the command and guidance of someone in a village. And then they come out of that, they go to this new environment, and it's too shocking for them. It's too much for them. That's what you're saying?
There is first of all, there is the issues of in terms of language. There's a challenge with language. Some children have never lived alone. Let me paint for you a picture. If you go, and we have been in some of these countries, a child living from Kapsabet, for instance, who cleared in Kapsabet girls, straight away to Melbourne. One thing that nobody has prepared that child is that you are going to be living in an apartment. Not this service apartment.
Not in a dome.
Not in a dome. And you are going to be living alone. And you are going to work and hustle to make, if you have been eating chapati and sausage or whatever, you are going to sweat to get it. Okay? You are going to ensure that your hair or your dress is no longer about mama. It's you. It's you to fight it. But in the you, nobody has prepared them. What does it take for you to make a living in some of those countries? Okay? And we know that economic time in this part of the world is hard. It's okay, I understand that. But then that cannot be the excuse for us to mortgage the rights of these children for parental care, the rights of these children to be handled until they have come of age so that they can be able. Let me tell you, good people, do you know, as you are speaking today, the conversation that nobody has ever wanted to, and I want to dare tell the parents, let us first of all understand why are we sending children to go and study abroad. Let me tell you, a degree in Australia, you pay trimester. 1.5 million
per trimester.
That translates to how much?
4.5
a year.
Per year. Times 3. How much is that?
13.5.
It is not, no child, we are not talking about fees from Kenya. We are saying that 20-year-old girl is going to raise 12.5 million or 10.5 million in Australia.
What do you mean?
Alone.
Are you saying that parents are sending the children to go and fend for themselves and pay for themselves?
Correct. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
So is that the problem? Or is that part of the problem? Because I want to ask this.
Yes.
Give me your village in Elgeyo Marakwet.
Kiptenden. Yes.
Yeah. Give me a high school. A good county school in EMC. Met-K. So a child from Kiptenden goes to Met-K.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
High school.
Yes.
What's the difference between that child who has not been exposed to city life coming to Nairobi and going to Melbourne? Do they face the same culture shock? Are they dazzled by city lights?
My brother, you see, as a child, there is the growth path. Okay, and there is a role that the society plays in the growth of a child. Okay, there is what you call even in terms of the community, the kind of community that you are going to live with. This is, we are dealing with the whites. We are talking about the racism that is going to bedevil some of our children. And again, you need to understand that the means of making in life in Nairobi is not the same as the means of making life in outside that part of the world, the kind of work that you're going to be doing. But then again, let me just go back to what I was saying. Now, if you are going to be raising 1.5 million per trimester, so per year we are expecting a child to pay about 10 million. Then again, my brother, when COVID came, it was free hour. So Kenyans could be able to go and they begin now working. Yeah, they're just working across. There was no restriction in terms of hours. As time continued, that working hours has been regulated to about 48 hours per 2 weeks. Okay? So an employer is now giving you an opportunity to work not more than 24 hours. That 24 hours or 48 hours is for you to raise money for your hostel, for your food, and for your lifestyle, and for what we call it, the school fees. Now, the challenge that we are facing today is a situation whereby these are some of the children have never worked. They have never. But then here, at least this time around, we have a police in this part of the world. You can be able to try calling me. You can tell me that, I'm stuck somewhere. You are on your own. You understand? You are literally on your own. But the expectation of us, we are at home, is our children are doing very well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
These children who have finished high school and are going abroad, are they going to work or are they going to study?
They are going to study.
Okay. So the country they're going to allows them to go to study on the understanding that they will be working to earn a living to be able to pay for their education.
Correct.
That is what is understood.
Yes.
And you're saying that the working conditions and the requirements, or rather what will be required of someone to actually work and study at the same time, is something many of these young people are not prepared for.
And they have not been informed.
Okay. Are we also saying that children who are being sent abroad from Kenya, that their parents are not paying school fees and they are not going on scholarship? Because what I hear you saying is that you're going to have to go there and work.
There's no scholarship.
You're going to have to go there and work in order to pay your school fees.
Yes.
So parents from Kenya today are sending their children empty-handed with nothing and say, go to school, work for your school fees.
Let me tell you, and we've been involved in this conversation at home. What we normally do is to raise school fees, the initial school fees
for the first year.
For the first year, okay? For you to be admitted, for the first admission. Thereafter, the reality dawns.
Oh, okay.
And because of that kind of environment that our children are finding, and that is why I said I don't have a problem with anybody going to do masters. Okay, so those, ordinarily you have worked, you have lived in this part, you have gone to Polytechnic, you have gone to wherever, but sending a child who has just cleared Form 4, surely we are not being careful and we are not being mentors to these children.
You asked a question, and I'd like to ask it again. Why? Because it seems to be that there is a specific move for parents to send children abroad. Why? Is it that we feel our local institutions are inadequate? Why? Because for this to be a concern, it means the number of parents who want to send their children abroad is increasing. So why is there this great need to send children abroad?
The desire of every parent is that our children would prosper. that the children will be able to earn a living and to become a blessing to the children, to the family, and to the society, and to the country. That is the desire of every parent, that our children will prosper and become a blessing to us. In so doing, there is a desire that can they be able to try somewhere else? Okay? Let's try somewhere else. Where I am picking an issue is in the spirit of let us try somewhere else. We are not analytical enough to understand who should go. You understand? Who should go? We are not saying people should not go. No, who should go? The kind of depression, and I'm telling you, I've just received a message when I was sitting there, a midwife lady in the other side, and he was telling me the number of admission in hospital of young Kenyans because of depression. Because of loneliness, the whole issues of loneliness, and most of these are these young people who are not prepared enough to go to that part of the world and to be able to study. And the other thing, Shiti,
yes,
there is a lot of pressure from the parents that let children go and begin sending money back home. I mean, in terms of you have worked, so we have worked. Now, so this is a child, my friends, who is struggling to pay 1.5 million per trimester.
But they're expected to pay school fees.
And they're expected to pay school fees. They're expected to do a lot. But then again, there is a lot of expectation way back at home to be able to send it back.
Ndugu yako ako ameingia form 1, ameitwa form 1.
Yes.
Na hii ndio school fees.
Yes.
Qualify for university.
Yes.
Na hii ndio school fees.
And for that reason, therefore, we are having a situation whereby our children, and by the way, let me tell you, our children are not speaking. And I want to address them this morning. Please speak out.
Let's take a break. Daktari, we'll continue the conversation shortly. Dr. Albert Koche is a board director at the Communications Authority, first speaker of Elgeyo Marakwet County. He's speaking today as a community leader. He says he's seen this many times in the community. There is the sudden rush to send children to go and study abroad. And when the children are getting there, straight from high school, going into Australia, to Canada, to other parts of the world, they are exposed to immediate shocks, culture shock, loneliness, expectations to raise their own school fees, their own upkeep money. And this is a bit too much, and it's leading to other undesired effects, including depression. Conversation continues shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Dare for fast relief from pounding, throbbing headache? Take Cipladon. The fizz works to relieve pain faster.
Available in all leading supermarkets and a pharmacy near you.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
A light drizzle in Nairobi, 16 degrees, highs of 23 and lows of 15 today. We'll see lows of 16 in a sunny, partly sunny Nakuru, going to highs of 25. Cloudy and rainy in Nyeri at 17 with highs of 23. And the same in Eldoret at 14, going to highs of 24. Mombasa this morning is partly sunny at 26, while Malindi is partly sunny at 27. We'll see highs of 28, highs of 28 in Kisumu and highs of 28 in Kakamega as well. We're looking out into a mostly cloudy Kampala at 19, and Dar es Salaam is sunny at 27. Johannesburg cloudy at 19, while into Mogadishu it's sunny at 28 and sunny at 13 in Addis Ababa. Lagos this morning is still hazy, will be for some time, with highs of 33. And finally, in Kinshasa, it's raining at 24, highs of 32, back down to lows of 24.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so where are we? Into traffic hour proper now, as what says the clock. On Langata Road, I think you'll be okay. We're seeing movement, however, getting towards Aerodrome and then onto Uhuru Highway. And then that's busy as you then connect with Haile Selassie. Folks, I don't know what's going on Haile Selassie this morning, but the traffic is even worse than it was half an hour ago. And inbound traffic on Haile Selassie is absolutely crazy. Coming in from railways all the way to that Kamkunji roundabout, and then roundabout outbound as well. Something to watch for. You don't need to be there. Please avoid it. You're getting into Westlands also via Uhuru Highway, and that's busy. Muranga Road all the way to the Globe Cinema overpass, and then on to the CBD at Moy Avenue is bumper to bumper as well. It's a busy morning, and on the Thika Superhighway it is just as busy, if not busier. All right, let's know where you are. If you find a good route this morning, we're going to need it. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on X.
Spice and everything nice. All right.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Dr. Albert Koche is our guest today. He's a board director of the Communications Authority. He's a former speaker of the Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly, and he has observed something. The buzzword nowadays in very many villages seems to be Maliza Shule and Uende Kasome. And this is then piling pressure. So communities are participating in doing harambes sababu mtoto anaenda kusomea ngambo. What is happening is that when they land in those countries, then they're expected to take care of themselves from that point on. And this is what you're raising an issue with. Yes. That it's leading to so much pressure to this 17, 18-year-old child who's never been exposed to employment, who's never been exposed to living in a hostel by themselves. They've lived at best in a dormitory in a high school, who's never been exposed to pay your school fees. It's always been the parents' responsibility to pay school fees. And now they suddenly have got to do all these things. So what's happening to them?
In fact, I want to divide this issue into two. We want to deal with the advice that we'll give to our good parents to avoid sending young children who have just cleared secondary school to go and study outside the country because they have not matured enough. On the other side, I want to ask the parents to have a candid conversation with your child for two reasons. Let us find out what does it take to live abroad. That is a conversation nobody wants to have. Let's do pen, paper, and a calculator. How much will it take for you to clear your degree? How much does it take for you to live in an hostel? How much is the amount for upkeep? Let us do that, because they say figures or numbers never lie. Let us have that on the table. Then you now begin asking yourself viability. You know, the whole issue of viability. Because let me tell you, my friend, I have seen some of our good parents sending your child abroad to go and do diploma. A diploma is likely to cost you about 5 million, for instance. How much does it cost you to do a diploma in Kenya? Huh? Yeah. $500,000. Okay. And secondly, we begin sending them. In fact, as we are speaking today, the Parliament of Australia is considering a piece of legislation, and I quote: previously, you could go and do your postgraduate and probably stay for a while. The current regulation stays up for, and that is what is one of the things that is giving a lot of depression to our young people. And that is what I'm saying. Let us get all the facts before we send our get all the facts, so that then we manage expectation.
So this thing that's causing depression, because I think that's a point. Yeah.
Yes.
This thing that would be causing this widespread depression.
Yes.
Amongst, what are we talking about? Is the pressure to then have to perform in order for you to stay in school, and then also the pressure to also have to raise school fees, because if you don't do it,
and the whole aspect of the culture shock.
So there's
you,
culture
you
shock.
Don't, you do not know how to live alone.
There's loneliness because you're living
yes,
on your own.
Yes, and the lifestyle, because you go, let me tell you, good people, we are having situation whereby, and this is my advice for our children. You left Kenya when you are a Christian. You left Kenya when you used to be a very good boy and good girl. The situations that we are getting today is that some of our children have gone into drugs. Shiti, you understand, this part of the world, we don't have this thing called the substance. This thing that are all over here. You are found somewhere and you are looked in wherever. That part of the world, these things are available.
Freely available.
You understand? So if you don't have enough shock absorbers, the moral shocks, if you don't have the moral clothing and the character strength, you will be able to become a burden back home. So we're having a situation whereby boys and girls who have left here are now into drugs. And I'm talking about real. I mean, you can be able to do your research. We're having people who are being deported because, one, they went there and they no longer go to school because they have gone. The world now is open. They are now able to do every other thing. And out of that, there is expectation that we went to study. But in reality, I'm not in school. The reality, I'm not in school. And then again, I don't have auntie. I don't have a friend. I'm alone.
You cannot confide in anyone.
You cannot confide in anyone.
You're actually not in school.
A situation I was told by a friend that there is somebody who cleared secondary school and went to that part of the world, and they were putting up with somebody who had gone before, who was doing a master's. And then every morning, this girl wakes up and go and hustle a bit, and this other one wakes up, the one who cleared secondary school, wakes up in the morning and equally disappears. In the evening they meet. Everybody says, "Oh, how was your day?" Yeah. Little did she know that actually within the last 1 month, this girl has been totally converted in drugs. Fresh from high school. That is the reality core ground. And that is why we are saying, can we able to take time, ensure that we are sending children who have matured enough. Children who are able to understand. And I know the question is, how do you tell that my child is mature?
Exactly.
Okay? I mean, on the very basic, do you think that your child, because everybody knows their children, do you think your third-born child, your second-born child, and you know they have been here for the last 17 years, do you think they can be able to stand on their own? Every parent, this is not about government.
But Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
the way, from what you're saying, the problem here seems to be the parents. The child would not go abroad if it wasn't for the parents. They would not be able, they wouldn't even know where to start.
It's the other way around.
The children may put pressure on the parents.
Very good.
But if the parent puts the foot down, what is the child going to do? Or if the parent is informed and is able to explain and say, you will go, yes, but you cannot actually go now, but you will go. Or are we saying that parents have lost complete control on this matter and that the children are the ones? Because I hear this is a matter of prestige now. Because the moment you mention so-and-so's child alienda, that's what I'm saying, is the parent. The parent, atake kuachwa nyuma.
But also, I think it goes also beyond that. It goes into testimonials. Because there will be testimonials in the community. Mtoto wa so-and-so alienda, and they're doing well. Mtoto wa so-and-so alienda, and they're doing well. So-and-so who was in our high school is now abroad, they're in Australia, they're in wherever, and they're doing well, they're okay. If the communication coming back to the community is that these guys who have gone abroad, they talk, because nowadays there's mobile phones. They'll be able to talk once in a while. Hata nani alikuwa amepiga simu.
Naiko WhatsApp. Instagram.
And there are photos that they are angalia.
Eric, do you know what you've just said? In the early years, when people like my late father were going to school, that is precisely what pulled people to school. Because so-and-so's son who had gone to school has put up a house for the parents with a mabati roofing. So-and-so's son who has gone to school is driving a car. So you realize school will get you that.
Yes.
Now, it looks like we're back there again, aren't we?
We are. And it goes cyclically. Because just like during the break I was saying, remember in the 90s when there was again another flux of Kenyans going abroad. Very many people, even in our high schools at that age, would finish and then you hear, they're abroad. There'll be harambes and the children will be traveling, they'll be going abroad. So you know that yes, the fee that was raised was that first fee. But it's job opportunities are available. Si kazi ya mjengo kama hapa na hiyo kazi ya mjengo lazima uongee na foreman vizuri. There are jobs. You are in class during the day. You work for several hours at night, and then you're able to, and even on campus, and you're able to pay for yourself. And in fact, so and so, when we go to the phone booth on Thursday to receive a call, they talk to us and they're calling and they're twanging. I'm Boston. How you doing? So it sounded like this. It sounds like it's the same thing, but then who is spreading this message? Because there must be an agent of information in the community. Who is it? Who's helping the parents who have not been abroad to know about the universities abroad? The children who have not been abroad to know about the universities and the application process and to apply and to get admission. Who's doing it?
I think that is the reason why I'm here, to escalate the conversation and to say that now that it is dawning on us that we have a situation whereby some of our children, and I'm not saying all, some of our children are now facing rough time because of the culture shock of not knowing how to be able to carry themselves because they're still young, they were not prepared. It could mean therefore that there is therefore a need for us to begin having this conversation so that then we begin, and my proposal, if a village is supposed to send their children to wherever, could it not be good even a month or two? While you are waiting for your visa, we are waiting for your visa. Could even some of these religious organizations, like our church, can we be able to have a meeting? Can we then say that all the children are going to be going to Australia indeed the next 3 months? We will be having periodic, monthly or weekly or by every fortnight a conversation that will be able to have somebody who has been there who can be able to prepare you mentally so that you can be able to weigh. Some of these people, with all this information, somebody will weigh the option. Say, okay, so is it worth? You understand? So I think, and I'm calling upon even myself, that can we be able to take a lead and help these many other children who would want to go tomorrow and the day after, so that we don't have a situation whereby we wait for the visa, but the pressure that comes in, you get the visa today, tomorrow you are supposed to go to the airport. Completely. And so can we be able, now that you have begun the process of traveling, let us now have what we call pre-departure engagement.
Right.
The pre-departure and in our communities we have very good structures, administrative structures. We can have the nyumba kumi, we have the clergy, we have the administration like the chief, so that then we can be able to have programs running about 3 months. We can even have Zoom. I know our good people who are living in Australia or UK or US can be able to have a Zoom meeting. Let's have a Zoom meeting. Let's have all the young people under one hall. Let's have a 2-hour program preparing them. Let's tell them, so when you come here, how you live, you are not going to be living, in your own house. You'll be because let me tell you, a room in Australia, for instance, is about 85,000 Kenya shillings per month.
A single room.
We are not talking about food.
A studio.
We are not talking about food. So I think those are the things we need to prepare. And then the parents again, so that the parents can begin understanding that we don't have to pile a lot of pressure. These people are going to work. And I want to say this. Let me say that At the end of the day, every parent would desire their children to become a blessing to them. That is why we are sending them. All that we are trying to say, before we send them, let us now have a pre-departure engagement. Let us have a conversation in some of these vernacular radio stations. Let us have individuals who are going to I want to call upon our brothers and sisters who have traveled. Come back home and educate our young ones. Help them to navigate. Help them to navigate so that they don't begin reinventing the wheel. They don't begin reinventing the wheel. Tell them, and unfortunately, we have had situation whereby some of our children, may God rest their soul in eternal peace. Some of our children even were involved in, the drowning. You must have had those drowning cases and everything. So let's tell them, if you have never been swimming, okay, I know there is pressure. That let's go and swim. Let's go and help. Learn how to swim. If you have never drunk alcohol, please, the world is not going to come to an end. There is this societal belonging. Don't go, some of those drugs. These are not Tuskers that you talk about. It's not the kind of Tusker you get it on the other side. And I don't drink though.
They don't even know.
They even don't So let us prepare them. Let's prepare our children so that when they go there, at least they have about 10% of what they are going to expect.
Which I have to ask.
Yes.
The parents. I'm stuck on this one here.
Yes.
How do we help parents to understand? Because this thing that parents believe they will get if the children go abroad, clearly they have understood they can't find it here. Or it's in very short supply here, and it's in greater supply abroad. That is why they want the children to go. How do we get parents to actually understand that, yes, your child can go abroad, but for you to ensure that the thing that you expect to get is actually achieved, there are certain things that you as a parent need to do. Because just sending the child and you think that the goal you have set will be achieved has no guarantee. But there are things you can do to make this, should we say, to reduce the margins of error and to make the possibility greater.
Let me say this. I know there is pride and the prestige. Our family, we have somebody in Melbourne, we have in South Africa, we have in Texas. It's okay. We are human. Come on. It's a lot of pride. There's a prestige. That being the case, I want to say the following. Before every child begin talking about going outside, let our parents, and let me tell you, even before I answer you, majority of the children who are going, their parents are our age mate. So you cannot tell me these are not the fellows who have not gone to school. Their parents have gone to school. They have gone to school. So you cannot say that they are not age like our parents who might not have had an opportunity to information. So we are dealing with a child of, or a parent of my caliber, a caliber of your caliber. So, we are informed. We know what needs to be done. So while the child is equally Googling and finding out some other thing, even as a parent, Google. I have a responsibility to find out where am I sending my child. Let me tell you, if you are very careful about sending your child when they are going out to your auntie, and you keep on calling, when are you coming back? Why are you not being careful when you are sending your child outside? It is that's self-care. We must be able to get all the information. And secondly, I want to ask, wazazi wenzangu, vitu kule is not as what we're expecting. We may not want to build a lot of pressure to expect returns. Returns, it's not a microwave. It will take ages for those children to be stable. They have to pay for their school fees. They have to take care of their lifestyle there. And the little, and of course, they have to do saving. There is a guy, they all saving. So the little they send, kindly let us appreciate. Because the issue that we are getting the other side, there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. Makoko, we want this, we want this, we want this. So you are fighting. And then let me tell you, for the school fee, the trimester, you are given the notice in advance. In advance that, hey, in 3 months, 1.5 million. 1.5 million, my friend. Even right now in Kenya, my sister, right now in Kenya, 3 months, you must be able to. And those are not just going to work in the office. there are all those many ways of making money. So what I'm asking, what I'm saying, it becomes the parents to be able to find out what exactly does it take for my child to go. And then secondly, let's get some feedback. I really want to get some feedback. I want to attend tomorrow a function whereby we have somebody, before even we do a fundraise, let somebody say, I have received this call and this is how things are. Let us get feedback. So that then we can be able to prepare our children very well.
Which is where I was coming in and bringing in the intermediaries.
Yes.
There are agents.
Yes.
Who are in the communities. You'll have to admit this. There are agents, whether they're political leaders, whether there are companies who are in the communities and they're saying, we are helping the children get admission to universities abroad. We are working, we have a partner in blah, 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 X university, which extends scholarships. I know it comes in the name of, there's a scholarship that has been extended.
Recruitment agents.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are people who appear to be trustworthy in the community who are selling this story. And if they happen to be leaders in the community, they're believed. And if they come up with a story and says, we have partnered with 7 universities, and these 7 universities have taken very many kinds. In fact, in the last 2 years, in our company, we have sent 200 students to Australia.
Yeah.
You will believe it. What should we do to those agents?
So this is what I will ask the agent. Thank you, my friend. And I think that aspect that I want to say. I want to ask the recruitment agents, come out of your offices, go to the village. I know you receive documents in your office. I know you receive when you're bringing money, you receive. But can I request you, go and reach out to the people, the owners of the children. Let us have the conversation at the village level. And now even for the MCAs.
And tell them the truth.
The MCAs, the members of County Assembly, the governor, the members of parliament, our community leaders, we now have to run this race, ensuring that we organize forums. Let us have public participation forums, educate. And I know my county, my governor, Wesley, is doing very well in preparing children. I normally see children are being prepared before they fly. That is the kind of thing that we need to do, so that children will be able to know in the first semester I'm paying 1.5 million.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to be paying rent 85,000. I'm going to be upkeep 50,000. Total per month is 200,000. Total per 3 months is 5.5 million. The parents should now say, for the time that I've been with this child, I've never made 5 million myself.
For the 17 years.
I am now going to set my own child, who is 20 years old, to make 5 million in 3 months. Understand? Let me tell you, if we have those, what you call cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis, you'll actually discover that we may want to invest our children to clear our local polytechnics, our local TVETs, our local universities, first degree.
Yeah.
Once they are done with first degree, naturally, somebody who's done first degree is about how many years? It's about 25. They have matured enough. They have lived in this hostel, my friend, Mamlaka Hall. They know all these things. They know Nairobi. They can actually go and absorb the shock in that part of the world. I have had a situation whereby a parent sent a Form 3 child, removed from school, Form 3, to go to Australia. Do you know how much was required? 2.1. How much is the school fees for Form 1 up to Form 4? Really? You understand?
Yeah.
So I think, again, we really need to manage this pressure. And then again, I want to ask your parents, it is very important for our child to go. But then again, let's have engagement. Some of our parents, my friend, are really struggling. And you know the economy. And I want to thank the president, at least the fuel list keeps on going down. The cost of living is becoming very tough. But again, we must be able to have a candid conversation with our children. Let us engage the government. Let us engage the agencies. Let the agencies disclose. It's called the principle of disclosure.
Right. Yeah.
Disclose all the information. But more importantly, let our children speak out. Those of us who are having serious mental issues, those of us who are having depression, don't die alone.
Reach out.
Reach out. we are here to help you.
Our embassies and high commissions in those countries.
And in fact, let me find out. There is the member of parliament the former member of parliament of Samuel Nandi is now the ambassador of Australia. Okay? Bitok.
Yeah.
So we want to ask him to go and address this issue. Reach out, consulate, reach out to those children. Find out. Let us help our children. Asante sana and God bless Kenya.
Dr. Albert Kochei, Board Director, Communications Authority, and the first speaker of the Elgeyo-Marakwet County, has been our guests. Very, very interesting conversation. Keep it here for more. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki defended the work of the Independent Policing and Oversight Authority. He says the authority is well within its mandate, trying to share a spotlight on rogue elements within the police service. Amid the debate, Kindiki reiterated that there is no conflict between the work done by the Inspector General of Police, the National Police Service Commission and IPOA, and that none is opposed to the other. Kindiki said officers who abuse their privilege and mishandle their firearms ought to be punished by the law. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has assured residents of disputed Nyeri land that their property will not be demolished. Sakaja has allayed the fears, saying that there have been ongoing talks with the Kirima family, the legitimate owners of the property, to prevent the demolition of homes. The governor pointed out a collaborative effort between the county and the national government to prevent demolitions after court-ordered evictions from the 1,000-acre land owned by the late Gerishon Kirima. Sakaja also cautioned against politicizing the issue, stressing that it was a legal matter. Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says focus should shift to the economic and social impact of the government's affordable housing program. The CS, who is in South Africa for the Affordable Housing Forum, said the interventions being made by the government will benefit Kenyans and the country in numerous ways. According to Wahome, the program is committed to ensuring that low-income earners are able to own homes through the National Tenant Purchase Scheme or rent-to-own payment options. She disclosed that the government has a facility in place with the World Bank and Africa Development Bank that will allow homeowners with a single-digit interest rate loan to be repaid over long term through the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company. And Kisii Governor Simba Arati has claimed a plot by his detractors to poison him. He accused some forces uncomfortable with his style of leadership of wanting to see him dead. He also said the plot to kill him was because he had sealed loopholes of graft. He was speaking at Nyabisia Primary in Bobasi, Masige East during an initiation ceremony funded by Area Ward Representative Jacob Bagaka. At least 550 boys were initiated into adulthood during the function. Bagaka on his part said it was time circumcision was funded by the government. Now, the National El Nino Emergency and Disaster Response Command Center has released the latest updates on the current flood crisis impacting various counties in the country. In a statement, the team said there have been no recent fatalities associated with the ongoing El Nino. In addition, flood waters are gradually subsiding in Lamu, Tana River and Garissa counties, with no new cases reported concerning the displacement of people. However, the situation is being closely monitored in 5 other counties, including Taita Taveta, Narok, Migori, Homa Bay and Siaya, due to the current forecast of heavy rainfall and isolated storms in the region. The public has been urged to promptly report any emergencies via toll-free line 0800 72 157. Kisumu International Airport has won the Kenya Airports Authority Airport Service Quality Awards after emerging the best in customer experience. The facility, launched in 2012, trounced Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Moi International Airport, Wilson Airport, Eldoret International Airport, Malindi International Airport, Manda Airport, Wajir Airport and Ukunda Airport to clinch the coveted award. Malindi International Airport emerged second runners-up, with Eldoret International Airport taking the first runners-up award. Wajir Airport won the Most Improved Airport Award, with Eldoret International Airport and Malindi International Airport taking home the Cleanest Airport Award and Most Dedicated Staff Award, respectively. KAA Acting Managing Director Henry Ogoe, who presided over the award ceremony in Kisumu, said the initiative was rolled out to celebrate exceptional service delivery and operational excellence within the airports. And the Ministry of Health says the Kenya Malaria Control Program has made significant strides in its mass, long-lasting insecticidal nets campaign. Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni stated that through the program, cases of malaria have greatly reduced in most malaria-prone counties. The PS noted that a further 143,000 nets are scheduled for delivery this week in different regions. The program was launched on November 15, 2023 in Homa Bay County, aims to achieve universal coverage and substantially reducing malaria cases across the 22 targeted counties. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Still busy, very busy, coming off a thicker superhighway this morning, and it looks like it's going to take a while to get out of this one towards Pangani, and it's bumper to bumper through and through. Also looking at movement coming in on Limuru Road now, and very heavy coming in from United Nations Avenue, Red Hill, then leading towards Gigiri, and then out from United Nations Crescent. That's extremely busy as well. Also looking at some traffic then in from Haile Selassie. That is an absolute mess. It's been on all morning. Yikes, and looks like it's going to continue for some time. Now, Jogo Road, all the way from the Manyanja Road Junction through to the City Stadium Junction, out towards Landis Road, and then onto Haile Selassie from Kamkunji is bumper to bumper. Do not know what's happening there. I need a shout out here, guys, to tell us. But for now, avoid it if you can. Use another route to get into and out of the city. While loading away, traffic going then towards the City Mortuary roundabout. Aerodrome Road is packed from Langata Road Junction to Uhuru Highway, bumper to bumper. It's that Friday, folks. So use alternate routes today if you can. The longer one is probably the better one. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on X and keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to
7
start
minutes
your
after
day.
8, on to the third hour of the Situation Room today. Maramoja app. It's a taxi hailing app. It is developed by Kenyans. It's managed by Kenyans. It's run by Kenyans. Maramoja ni yetu. Why Maramoja?
Well, why Maramoja? Very interesting, because we looked at a fleet that is just enough to handle everyone. You hail one, you'll get one. You don't have to wait for so long before you get one in your area. So they've increased their fleet. It's great. They have trustworthy drivers, so you can be sure that when you are ready to go where you're going, that you will do so in safety. You can also have the luxury of a private driver taking you where you need to go in your own privacy. It's fantastic. And the prices are good too.
Yeah.
So
it's a big, there's something that's been very common in the country before the taxi apps came. Everybody had a cab guy.
Yeah, you had
right?
a cab guy. Yeah.
You had your cab guy. So wherever you are, you have reached out to your cab guy and you told your cab guy, Niko mahali fulani, I'll call you at around this time. You let me know where you are, or you can come. You can be coming closer so that you take me to my next destination.
Yeah.
Now, Maramoja is bringing back the cab guy story.
You can have your cab guy.
You can have your cab guy. How does that work? You can pair. There's a pair button on the Maramoja app. So basically, you decide, say I'm your cab guy,
Okay.
all right? And you call me or mobile and you tell me, Eric, come and pick me up. So you go to the app. Instead of now requesting a cab, you request a cab and you pair with Eric, the driver. So it says, I am requesting a cab and I specifically want Eric.
Yeah.
Okay. So Eric is raised wherever, and Eric is told Ndu is looking for you. Ndu wants you to
Take
them.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So that also is very good, because if you're a good driver, you can have a group of people who actually have preferred you as their cab guy, and you can also second someone and say, hey, I trust this driver. You can actually just go and pair. And this is a facility, an application, or it's available on the app. If you just download Maramoja app and you're going to look for an app, you pair. You just tap, you pair, you go. It's as simple as that. It's a good thing, because then the issue of trust is sorted.
It's sorted out.
You are always being carried by somebody that you trust. Now you can imagine, we've just been talking about children. You're using an app, and you know your children are using the Maramoja app and the cab. So you can just do exactly the same thing.
You'll be sure.
Pair.
Kids are going somewhere, so you can be sure that they're getting to and coming back with somebody that you know and is trusted.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, I think.
Download Maramoja Taxi on a Google Play Store, Apple App Store. Maramoja Taxi on Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Maramoja ni yetu. We'll tell you more. There's still some more things about Maramoja that we'll be telling you shortly. In the meantime, we're waiting for our next guest to join us here shortly. And when he comes, we'll tell you what it's all about. Single pay bill lifts non-tax collection by 8.6 billion shillings. You know now everything. You want to pay NSSF, NHIF, you want to enter KWS parks, you want to pay for ID, you want to renew your driving license, which are the service. Any service in government,
They're using the government pay bill.
One single pay bill. Nothing about confusion. You know, at pay bill here.
Is what?
Yeah.
Which bank? Black?
For NSSF is this one. For NHIF is this one. For this one, you have to keep remembering them. No, you just know the pay bill is one, a single one. Because of the government making this move, non-tax revenue collection by state agencies has grown by 8.6 billion shillings in the first quarter of the present financial year to June next year, propped up by the implementation of the single pay bill collection system. Fresh data from the National Treasury shows that non-tax revenue, known as Ministerial Appropriations in Aid, AIA, and which includes fees and fines collected by state corporations, increased to 92 billion shillings, marking a 10.3% growth from the same period in the previous year's 84.2 billion shillings. The state had set a target of 82.4 billion in AIA. They have collected quite a number, 92.8 billion, already surpassing that target. It's a good thing, isn't it?
It really is.
Now, pesa ikiingia, now use it well. That's all we ask.
Please.
Use it well, not spend it wisely. Professor Peter Kagwanja is the CEO of the Africa Institute. He's been a guest in the Situation Room many, many times before. He's a commentator on matters of governance in the country and Africa and beyond. He's our guest. Prof, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
How you doing?
I am doing well. It was pressure meeting you at the other venue.
Yes.
Where you...
We celebrated Jamhuri Day together.
Yes, in a different context.
What Prof is saying, basically, nilichinja mbuzi, nikawaita wazee. Tukakula.
Actually, he was a slave driver.
But I was not as bad as people say.
Yes.
Ndu was very good. Ndu moderated the session.
She was a little bit soft. She had soft power. Yours was hard.
Karibu sana. Good to have you in the situation.
Me too.
Siti, give the good prof the day's proverb.
Okay. Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the Republic of Djibouti. Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put. Professor Kagwanja, what do you think the Djiboutians are saying?
That's what they say also. I think it's in China. If you're not adding value on silence, you'd rather keep quiet.
If you're not adding value on silence, keep quiet.
Yes. Meaning, whatever you are doing is not adding value. You are better off just doing nothing.
Aye. That is not fair, one. That's not fair. A lot's happening in the country, though, Prof.
Yes.
And thank you very much for joining us. I want to start you off with this headline in the business dailies. There's a new World Bank report. And the World Bank report says that the period between 2005 and 2015, Kenya experienced some very good years. In that, poverty rate declined from 46.7% to 36.1% in those 10 years. Our GDP per capita grew the fastest in those 10 years. That was Mwai Kibaki, and that's why they're saying that time, those were glory years. Are those years gone, Prof?
I don't think so. It is just the policies you adopt. And there are many models people use. Sometimes there are people who are guided by what you can call pragmatism. You do what is doable. There are others who are guided by ideology. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hindu, I don't do this. So I don't drink cocoa, I don't drink that, I don't do that, I don't do that. So in other words, you're guided by certain set precepts, and if you wish, you see things through some prisms. So those are two different things. Whether you are guided by ideology or you are guided by what is practical and useful. For Kibaki, getting to power, he had only three things. He wasn't really ambitious. I think it's history that is judging him differently. He said, I'm going just to do three things. I'll give you a constitution so that you know how you're governing yourselves. I'll revive the economy. At that time it was -2. I'll revive the economy, and I will deal with the corruption. In retrospect, he succeeded in giving us a constitution. He revived the economy. That's what you were talking about. But the issue of corruption is still work in progress.
But is there a time in the history of mankind when it is never a work in progress?
Sure. But corruption will vary. If it is me versus you, that you have to do this and this, then we have a cultural way of defining it. But when you are rooting public coffers, what is common to us? We use a lot of euphemisms, a lot of sugarcoating, but the truth of the matter is that this is public theft. Corruption is the actual word is theft of public property. With impunity, because you use politics also to defend yourself from that kind of theft. It's a kind of raiding mentality. When you wake up in the morning and send your young men in form of warriors to raid your neighbor, then you think that the neighbors have no right. It is you. So we're kind of really imposing that tribal mentality of raiding to raid the state. And therefore we are raiding coffers. And therefore we have a kind of a moral veneer saying we are not stealing, we are actually raiding the state. So you come home and you expect your relations, all kind of celebrations because you've raided. You come home as a hero.
But Prof, then wouldn't you then say that indeed President Kibaki's fight against corruption was actually successful? You know why?
Yeah.
So long as we keep referring to that presidential era, so long as it's a reference point, and it's usually a positive reference point, then it means that he did set a benchmark by which we can actually look and say, this didn't happen. We saw this happening. When it comes to public resources, we saw this is what was done. When it comes to someone achieving what they did, they did this. We saw them doing this. So the success factor
Yeah, the success factor was there. For example, if we just stick to the use of public resources and the protection of public resources, you can go through all the records, and Thika Road was the most ambitious project Kibaki embarked on, and it finished at an affordable fee. Kenyans never complained about the cost. Kenyans never complained. To date, it's almost over 20 years. It has not a single pothole. It's like it was built yesterday.
It keeps getting recarpeted. There's a management company that keeps...
But that means that the contract was good. That the company also the contract involved also recarpeting and so on. So in short, what we're saying is that there was a deliberate effort by the state or the elite at that particular time, not all of them, to ensure that public money is protected. Obviously, we saw boomeranging. I mean, expanding. Local capitalism. I'm a scholar, and therefore I remember one Rwandese scholar who wrote a very celebrated work and said there are no capitalists in Kenyans except. He said he identified one of our section of our community, the Indians. Said that those are the only capitalists there. The rest are just
pretenders.
Pretenders to the throne. But now, by the time Kibaki left office, we had people who owned mega banks.
We were all capitalists.
We are all capitalists. Equity Bank had moved from a building society, building houses, huts for Simba for people, and to a bank that is now international. You go to Congo, it is basically, I think, the second or the third largest bank in that country.
The bank.
It's a bank. The same thing with Cooperative Bank. We went to KCB and others.
Family.
So we started now beginning to have what you can call capital. So Kibaki's, the dividends of the Kibaki era was not just about corruption and constitution. It also transformed us. Just take a simple example so that you know what I'm talking about. Our middle class expanded in an extraordinary pace. We used to have people called councillors who were just given sitting allowance among the poorest political class anywhere on the continent. Today, we have MCAs who have four-wheelers and SUVs and so on.
And they're still the poorest.
The
political class.
Yeah, they're still at the lower level, but they are not at anybody's level. Why? Because it was a deliberate effort by the Kibaki time. If you have to secure democracy, you need to have a big middle class. And that's our main critique of the...
We glorify the Kibaki years.
Yes.
As if we're rewriting history.
As we are rewriting history?
Yes. As if we're looking back and you're like, yeah, my God, those days we were eating, what are they eating in Egypt? Pumpkins and watermelons and all those things. And leeks, right?
For breakfast.
Leeks. So, in that period, when these things were happening, were Kenyans feeling it? It's a perception issue I'm asking here. 2005. 2005 is a referendum year, remember?
Yes.
In that referendum year, this time when the GDP per capita was growing, when poverty rates were dropping, if you went to Kenyans and asked them, how's the economy doing? Would they have told you, actually, you know what, we are better. I'll read you a story, a headline that was by the Standard in 2004. Specifically, Sunday, October 26th. Kenyans becoming poorer under NAC. 10 months after the NAC administration took power with the promise of economic prosperity, the average Kenyans are worse off than any other time in the past 5 years. Those past 5 years were in the Moi era. The perception of the people then was, it's better to go back to Egypt. This is the middle of the Sinai desert, not even a drop of water. We better go back. They were not feeling it. In 2007, 2 years into this report, 2005 to 2015, Kenyans, many of them, were voting Kibaki out. Those that had voted him in 2002 were voting him out. They were not voting for, they were voting Kibaki out. In 2008, they wanted him home. Perception.
Yeah, it's perception.
Or reality.
No, perception, but there is something else beyond perception. Within the when Kibaki did not use the Moi era, 24 years, as an excuse for his non-performance. Within
his ministers, some of his ministers did.
No, they wanted to do anything, but for Kibaki as a leader, they said no. He said, so within the first 6 months, because I was there, the economy had moved from -2 to 3%. Even with our elite differences that led us to 2007, what you find essentially is that the economy was growing at super speed that we rated highly. But as I said, it is all a matter of approach. That you say, this is what I want to achieve now, I finish. I get to this one, I finish. So he started off with education. Why education? Because if you don't give people anything else, give people education, because it is the universal equalizer. It is the only route that a poor person can get to the top of the nation. There is no other that I know, because if you didn't have capital, you cannot become a mega business person. So that's what he started off with. Then he moved to the next one, which is energy. And when you're dealing with energy, you're basically saying you don't want to use GDP. You want to use kilowatt as a way of measuring wealth. So from small houses, the energy consumption is what indicates whether a country is rich or poor. It is not GDP. GDP is more theoretical. The next thing he did was to talk about infrastructure. Open up the country. If you have your own goods, get them from Nyandarua, bring them here. Get them from Kakamega, bring them to the market. So the connecting people in the villages to the market, that's all. There's nothing else he did. Then economy grew itself, because you have given the enablers. Now, if you don't emphasize on enablers that connect people to the economy, then that's where the problem is. Kibaki didn't do much. Politically, he was a layback, and this is a politically active country. Therefore, we did a lot of fighting. I remember this was part of my business. Fighting for the system, and the fight was basically among elite. Now, today, if you talk to Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, he'll tell you that was the golden period, because after 2007, 2008, we came to our senses. We kind of grew out of our madness and understood that we are all in this ship. If it is sink, we all sink together. And therefore we started talking, and we talked as Kenyans. That's how we got the Katiba. That's how we got the Thika Road, by the way, was finished that time. The Outer Ring Road, the Southern Bypass, and all this. They were all done almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Why? Because we understood that we need to work together as Kenyans.
Those of you
yes,
who were working for the NAC administration knew what was being done. Well, there are some who were working for the NAC administration who had no clue what they were doing, what was being done. But to the rest of the population, we were seeing some sweating ministers who were putting on weight on a daily basis. And we were seeing people being arrested and this and the other, and thinking, these ministers, surely they're completely incompetent. We were hearing people saying, Moi should just go and sit down there, we'll teach him how to run a country, and thinking, these guys are very arrogant. We were seeing a conversation from a president who had promised a constitution, whose people were appearing to sabotage the realization of that constitution in bombers. All those things of, roads were being built, roads had not been completed. So people were just wondering, Mutu, we voted for this guy. He promised so many things. None has come. The question I'm asking with all these things is does the public set itself up for disappointment by having unrealistic expectations without clear timelines of when some of these expectations are to be realized?
You've got...
Because, CT keeps reminding us, Kibaki, nobody else has been elected with as high a percentage as Kibaki has, right? Kibaki was elected and people had this expectation. There are people when they were dancing and saying maji yetu, haki yetu, Kenya yetu and all those things, the expectation was fever pitch. But then maybe that's the reason why by 2005 it had dropped so low that by 2007 many were not willing to even consider voting for him again.
Well, if you study the French Revolution, there's something you are going to find. As communities and societies imagine themselves on a revolutionary path, the more they harken back to their past to look for examples. Therefore, by 2005, 2007, some people are looking back to the Moi era and say, this is what we're doing. The pain of dictatorship is over. This is what they are talking about. The Jews are talking about the pharaohs. The whips and the scorpion of the pharaoh no longer matter because you're free in the desert. So now you begin to look at other kind of imaginations about your future. And therefore you complain about the present in the light of that. So there was that by 2005, 2007. People were beginning to talk about the envelopes. You go to Kibaki's State House, you could not even get a cup of tea because, that's the essence. I remember we could go for consultations there and somebody has to sneak the burger. It is 3 o'clock. You've not had anything.
You've not had lunch.
Yes, lunch. And previously, you go to State House and leave
First order of business.
Yes, the first order of business is an envelope and you're happy. And so the moment you go to this house, you come out with something. So Kibaki basically inverted things. Most of us were not actually happy about that. I can now tell you for sure. Because the day I went to Moi's to State House as a student, at the university, I came up with an envelope. I don't want to mention what it contained.
Well,
but it was a letter. It transformed my life a little bit. You see, now I went to Kibaki State House so many times and came out with nothing at that time except working and what I was doing because it was different. So, there were those disenchantment. But the big issue is why you stay with the public agenda. One of the things that, to me, in retrospect, was consistent is one, Kibaki went for the merit. The person who transformed the economy of this country in terms of scholarship and intellectual input were two scholars, very leftist, if you wish, and had absolutely nothing to do with the Kibaki administration the way it was conceived. This is Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o and Professor Michael Chege. These are the ones who would give us the paper on wealth creation. They are the people who would give us Vision 2030 in terms of the because everything has everybody's stamp. So it's Anyang'. Anyang' was in ODM. He was not in Kibaki's side of things. But Kibaki was willing to work with every Kenyan who is going to add value to what the country was doing. That was different after this. You are either, if you are not in St. Mary's or you are not in Wareng or whatever, you don't belong very well. You see, I say this boldly because there's nothing to hide. Today it's not about merit. It's not about quality. It's about loyalty.
It's about the club.
No, it's even crude loyalty. That you have to, you don't walk to me standing. You walk on your knees.
Let's take a break, Professor. Even then, it was about Mount Kenya Mafia. That's when it came up.
Sure.
It's perceptions.
No, we're there.
Let's take a break. 28 minutes to 9. Professor Peter Kagwanja is our guest this morning. He's the CEO of the Africa Institute. We're discussing the state of our politics and the state of our economy and the development. We'll be back shortly. We are live on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, on YouTube and Facebook. Conversations also going on X, on TikTok and Instagram.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Dare for fast relief from period pain? Take Ciplodon. The fizz works to relieve pain faster.
Available in all leading supermarkets and a pharmacy near you.
Oh, finally! It's my standard courier delivery. At Standard Courier, we know that your time is valuable. That's why we guarantee swift and efficient deliveries to your doorstep every time. Give us a call on 0793 599 684 or schedule your next delivery by visiting our website www.standardmedia.co.ke/courier. Trust Standard Courier Service for all your courier needs. We deliver with pride.
17 degrees and the drizzle continues in Nairobi, highs of 23 and lows of 15. We'll see lows of 16 in a mostly cloudy Nakuru, going to highs of 25. 23 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 19, and in Eldoret, it's foggy this morning as you approach the city, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Looking into into Mombasa, it's mostly sunny, highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 32 as well in a mostly sunny Malindi. It's partly sunny at 23 in Kisumu, and Kakamega is partly sunny at 21. Looking into a sunny Kampala, highs of 27, and Dar es Salaam is mostly sunny at 29, going to highs of 32. Johannesburg cloudy at 20 with highs of 25, and Mogadishu will see highs of 33, where it's currently sunny at 28. It's 14 and sunny in Addis Ababa, highs of 22. And we're looking into a hazy Lagos at 23 with highs of 33. The rain continues in Kinshasa, currently at 24 with highs of 32 and lows of 24.
Spice up your life.
All right, really busy in the city this morning, and this now, what we're looking at is heavy traffic on Jogo Road. It's so heavy that it spilled over to Landis, and folks who are coming in from Lusaka Road, joining in from the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, all the way through from Mombasa Road, are now stuck and heading out through towards Landis. In and outbound traffic towards Landis, Lusaka, is an absolute mess. This started very early. Jogo Road now in turn, coming in from Manyanja, connecting from Outer Ring. This whole circuit is now crazy. And we're looking at traffic then also on Haile Selassie, clogged up since 6 in the morning. In and outbound traffic, very, very slow. What happened this Friday? The rains came, we know. However, this is uncharacteristic. Also on Uhuru Highway, getting into the city, it's very busy as you go through towards Chiromo and also inbound there. So let's look at traffic coming in from Moranga Road. Kipande Road, trying to get away from what's happening, coming in from Chiromo is bumper to bumper. On the Thika Superhighway, that still continues well past the Outer Ring Junction, and also Kiambu Road has joined the party because it's heavy traffic in and outbound, through and through. It's that Friday, folks. Wits about, patience up. Let's see what happens as we get through the next half an hour. We'll talk Spice FM, KE on X.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Our guest, Professor Peter Kagwanja, CEO of the Africa Institute, is still here with us. We are discussing the state of the country politically, economically, developmentally, and everything. We've just been talking about, this Kibaki era, right? You were here for some of that time. You heard what was being said in the country, and you compare to today. Is there any difference?
I don't know that the difference is beyond what happened when you have the connectors. You talk about that should be simple connectors to the economy, but I'm looking at connectors to whom then was brought in to do certain things. And I don't know that any difference has been seen in terms of loyalty that was made. The results of those connections may be different, but the initial move, who you brought in to do what, had everything to do with loyalty. And I don't think that that is ever something that governance in this part of the world for now, or any part of the world, will be divorced from necessarily. The question and the demand that we ought to be making is that in spite of the moves of loyalty that you make for governance, can you guarantee that the results that you're seeking for, that these simple connectors for the economy will be above and beyond the threshold of doubt? I don't even have to ask, even if you've given your person the job, shouldn't the overall progress of the country be front and center in terms of a target. That's the only difference I see. That maybe now we don't see in terms of results, but in terms of awarding people these jobs, it has not changed. But should we not be seeking above everything else that the progress of the country should be what everybody's focus is on?
You know why a small island called Singapore is now the prime destination of everyone? Don't even talk about its own development. Talk about its appeal. It's a single country where, everybody wants to go. 192 countries out of 195 have given Singaporeans a free visa. So if you are Singaporean, you can go anywhere in the world because nobody will see you as a public charge. The reason we put visas is because we don't want public charge. People who are going to expand on our economy rather than adding value. So for a Singaporean is seen as a value addition, even walking through your country. The reason was because their founding fathers, Lee Kuan Yew, decided that him and the people around him decided that we are going to put our best in positions that are important to us. And putting our best means it's going to transform our society. I wouldn't say that happened under Kibaki because we have a power elite that is fractured. Even today, I don't think we can blame Mheshimiwa Ruto or Uhuru before him on any of this. This is who we are as Kenyans. We have a very, very deep-seated ethnic consciousness. And you think that you're born to work for your clan, if you are a Somali, or for your tribe, if you are everybody else. Even other communities like the Kisis and others, sometimes the clan is more important than even the community.
Who we are, who we've become?
No, it's who we are. It's a consciousness.
And almost to a fault, though. And I think to a fault that's detrimental to progress. Because we cannot see beyond that. Because this person is from where I am from, you cannot see that this individual actually does not have the capacity to do this work.
I have to disagree with both of you here. Because this wasn't always the case. What we're referring to is learnt behavior. If you go back into history from the time we got our independence, you cannot say that this was the case. You would argue that those in leadership thought as Kenyans, they believed they were Kenyans in leadership. If you talk about the first cabinet we ever had, Jomo Kenyatta was the first among equals until things started falling apart. If you look at what then happened thereafter, that is where what we're referring to now began.
We are speaking the same thing. We are not speaking something different.
Yes.
Our aspiration is what we call national consciousness, that we are Kenyans and we are working for the Kenyan nation. That is what we call nationalism. And driving nationalism is the consciousness that we are Kenyan. But below the Kenyan nationalism, the consciousness of being Kenyan, is a consciousness of being who we are. Read Mukisa Kitui's book about becoming Kenyans. He's talking about the Maasai people. He wrote on the Maasai anthropologically. And you can say the same, becoming Kenyans about the Kikuyu, becoming Kenyans about the Ruya nation. So we have difficulties becoming Kenyans. We all aspire, by the way. Our major aspirations is to become Kenyans. In fact, it's the largest. No, we know the limits. Like, for example,
Prof, we actually don't aspire to become Kenyans. Not really.
We aspire to be our tribes.
Not really. You see, let me tell you where I'm taking this argument. Where what I'm premising my argument on. I'm saying the construct that we're referring to here, and it is just that, a construct. Okay. It is an agenda that has been pushed by elites in every community that we have in this country.
Correct.
Pushed. It's not something that has grown organically. You can talk about the organic growing now, but that's not really the case.
This is true. That's what the British, John Lonsdale, tell us, the historian in Cambridge. He tells us, don't look at tribes and start demonizing them. In a community or in a country like this one of ours, where insurance, the penetration of insurance covers is almost zero, then the community, the communities are our insurance.
Yes.
So if you have a medical bill,
Our children are our insurance.
Yes. If you have a medical bill, you call your community. Then the community calls your friends. Then you find that in a hall we are all Kenyans, but we are called by certain elite. Now the problem with the ethnic consciousness is when we get to the political space, because it's in the political space where we politicize it for the gain, not of the majority, not even that community.
No, it is in the name of the majority, but it is for the minority.
For the minority,
yes, who are pushing that agenda.
For the elite, yes. And that's and when we say we, the Kikuyus, or we, the Somalis, or we, the Mijikenda, we are actually using we in the British sense that it is myself, but using we
the
royal we.
Yes.
That is the issue about ethnicity. It was there during the Kibaki period. Just to get back to the point, you saw people who were really saying things that needed not be said. And as I said at the beginning, the more you think that you are on a revolutionary path, the more you are retrogressive, looking back. And that's what the French found. That they thought that they were having this liberté, égalité, and so on, but they were looking for Napoleon, the dictator. And eventually they celebrated, the worst dictators in their history as the liberator of the French. This is after the revolution. So the Kikuyus of 2002, 2004 were literally looking for the Kenyatta era, the Jomo Kenyatta era.
Yes, they were.
When they called the shots. And some people thought the others don't know how to govern. So you've got to teach them how to govern.
I think so. They said so.
Yeah, and the problem is they articulated it in public. Now, after that, of course, that was shut down, and quite a number of people fell. The Murugaros of the world fell. Other people found. So we had at least to come to a kind of a compromise. And that's why we say 2008 to 2013 is Kenya's golden period. Yes, it is the worst, because this is when we had the so-called Grand Coalition. Everybody was in the government. It was
Professor, history is an interesting thing. Huh? It's interesting in this sense. In the Kenyatta One era, it is said, I have heard it said, I didn't hear Kenyatta say it, but I heard it said, but it was said by people who came from Kiambu, that the presidency would never pass the River Chania.
Yes.
Where you come from is beyond River Chania. Okay? Nyeri is beyond River Chania.
Sure.
Now, so it wasn't just an issue of the Kikuyu. No. We had a situation here where it was Kiambu. And if you recall in that era, that particular era, the number of ministers that came from Kiambu, not central Kenya, Kiambu,
yes.
Around 7. Now, while other parts of this country didn't even have roads to speak of, schools to speak of, now, 60 years down the line, communities who came from those places where there were no roads are now commercial economic giants, meaning they've moved from being pastoralists to modern day businessmen.
Yes.
Now, that change is worthy of study. It's something that one ought to look at. This transformation that took place, how did these people move from here to here? And then look at the communities that had that position before. Where are they now? And how have they gone about it? Because the Kenyan story is told when you look at the development of communities.
I think that's very clear. The major transformation takes place after 2002. And it takes place after 2002 because most communities are engaged. Remember also, this is the period of globalization, and the country opened up. So you can go to Turkey and come up with your container of tiles and sell and make your money. You can go to China, Malaysia, and so on. So there were very many factors that converge to enable Kenyans generally. I write quite a lot about the Somali people, so I'm not saying something that I've not put it down in writing. The Somalis themselves moved from a very inward-looking community that were talking about lost lands talking about the Northeastern and so on, to a very global community. That is having cabinet ministers in virtually every government in the Horn of Africa. They have a finance minister in Ethiopia, agricultural minister in Tanzania, quite a couple of ministers in Kenya, very powerful ministers and officials,
MPs and senators in America.
And senators. So so from the inward community that is looking to rejoin another localized community somewhere, to a country now move globally, and now is a member of the East African community, and one of the what you can call the frontiers of growth, given the resources they have, uranium and all that, and along a big coastline. So, in other words, even our consciousness, despite our inward looking, is forced by circumstances to change.
You introduce an interesting concept, because you're talking about how adversity has brought about what we're now speaking of.
Yes.
Could we then look at the Moi era and talk about the adversity of the Moi era and what it is that it spurred us into being?
Ushering in that golden era.
Yes.
Actually, the point is, if we are ever to talk about Kenya as a nation, the person who made Kenya is Moi. Because, metal does not, is not forged on cold water or ice. It's the hottest furnace. And 24 years of Moi's dictatorship, if you wish, basically made us conscious that we are Kenyans. When people, Muite and Orengo and others, Bahamaris from the coast and others, were moving to the street to fight for, second liberation, they did not go to the street as their ethnic communities.
No, they did not.
They went as a collective, the Kenyan, and the new Kenyan. So, and that's why Moi ultimately becomes the hero of the republic. By the time he's an old man, everybody wanted to be good to him. Why? Because on the anvil of the adversities of his era, Kenya was forged.
And you realize this after, right?
Yeah.
The impact of a leader is realized after they exit. The Kibaki years, during the Kenyatta 1 years, it was all looking and wondering, now this Mzee, now this, the other. After he goes, that's when you realize, okay, this is what happened under Kenyatta. In the 24 years of Moi, all those things that we're talking about, the political sort of repression and all, but then on the other side, the schools, Moi secondary, Moi this and
universities,
schools, the universities, the health and all, and the push to that consciousness, you realize it later. In the Kibaki years, we realize it after. When he was doing the final circuit and saying goodbyes, in the time when he was there, when the Standard Media Group was being raided, when there were all these,
uttering the snake.
Yes, when all these things were happening, it was, this guy is killing media freedom. This guy is derailing our path towards the realization of a new constitution. This guy is now grading everybody and saying tax. I mean, Kenya was living with tax or increasing tax. This guy, it was all those negatives, and then you realize it later. So the Uhuru, maybe we are yet to see the Uhuru years also, things happened, Probably it's the same thing that's happening now with Dr. William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto. First year in office, you look back and you're like, Hakiam, probably.
The misfortune.
When you're in it,
the misfortune.
You do not understand what the driver is doing.
The misfortune.
Hold on, City. The driver is driving this matatu. The passengers are arguing with the conductor. They're arguing amongst themselves. There's a preacher there who's trying to preach. There's a hawker who's trying to sell. So you're not even seeing where you're going until the driver stops. Haya, tumefika Msitwandei.
My view is that the ideology that was voted in power in 2022, William Ruto's ideology, was the winning formula.
What was his ideology?
The bottom up. Basically, the focus on the legend of the earth. Let's look at it this way, because the economy we were pursuing is an IT economy where Safaricom is the main producer of our wealth because of the centrality of IT and energy in the current formation. So therefore, why this idea really reverberated with the people about the bottom up and so on was the focus that, yes, we need to develop. You cannot deny it. Uhuru developed this country, move her to levels of imagination. Today, I have come from my place where I stay, in less than 15 minutes. I've been coming here, and I've been taking 1.5 hours minimum to come here. So I used 15 minutes because of the expressway. So you cannot say Uhuru did not achieve anything. Kibaki achieved, as we have said. Obviously, at the end of the day, William Ruto will achieve a lot. But the aggregate point is, are we carrying Kenyans along? And that is the question that William Ruto asked during the campaign. Are we carrying Kenyans along? So when he talked about Mama Mboga, Hawa Wengine from the bottom, he appealed to a consciousness that Kenyans wanted to identify with. That yes, we develop, but we develop all of us. Let's have prosperity, but let it be shared prosperity. Let us have this. The problem is when you come to the office, where, the other day they were talking about a guy who had worked so hard here with the Bible and everything and went to heaven. And then when he was given the option to go to hell or to heaven, so he went to inspect the hell. And that day, hell was on promotion, and everything was good.
It was open day.
Open day. Then he went to heaven and found what he has been hoping, angels floating, God reigning supreme somewhere.
Cherubs playing harps.
Yes, or, harps are playing, everything is green and quiet. And he decided that he chose hell because there is life there. Then when he went, he found that the devil has a tail. He has horns. Then the question was, what had from home? The devil told him, hell was on promotion. So it was campaign time. Now, there's a difference between campaign time and governing time. This is the point.
So this is, sorry, Prof, because essentially what we are saying is, if an ideology is truly an ideology, it will not be hinged on the elements of a campaign promise or campaign fever. But that if we are truly saying, because that's it for me, that if the people of a nation are not thriving, even at the very barest minimum level, it doesn't matter what your ideology is, that ideology having not been put into practice, then it will not work. I agree that you will not be able to see the achievements of a leader until maybe afterwards.
Afterwards, yes.
Right? And if we are saying now that, yes, that ideology is what was used to promise people a certain thing, is it truly at the heart of everything that the people of Kenya are really being carried into this vision? And unfortunately for a lot of people who are getting into office today, the truth of the matter is that Kenyans, the people, are not being carried along. They may say it and it might sound good, but is there an intention to carry people along? Because if there was, you would be able to see the exemplification of that at the barest minimum. For example, you would be able to see that without a doubt, the very first priority is to make sure that health in the country is sorted out. There would be no question as to why do you not have 47% of your capitation not sent to school. There would be no question that people cannot get goods from farm to market, and we need to fix this road. If truly the survival of your people is at the very front and center of your intent, we would see it.
Yeah.
But do we see it?
We don't see it, and that's the thing.
Sure, and I'm saying this again, going back to the French Revolution. We learned one lesson that zeroes don't make a difference in countries; they just destroy countries. Zeroes, people who are driven by the zeal, the desire. So it has to move from bottom up as a zeal to bottom up as a practical project.
It must be evident.
Yeah, and a practical project that is evident and with the expected fruits and some certainty to it. That's one.
Yeah.
The second, so there was this French zealot called Maximilien Robespierre, who was really the ideologue of the revolution. He was about the French fraternity and all. But then somebody, when they wrote history, they said this man would have done a better job growing roses rather than being the champion of the idea. Because he even invented the guillotine. He invented the guillotine to cut people's heads for not being adherents to the idea. So you see the point? Now, today, the main challenge, we have to stay with that idea that we need to carry our ordinary people along. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. Less promises, more deliverables. Right? You even when you want to eat a big ugali, you don't gulp it. You go piece by piece. Let us see the pieces you are eating and how we are going there.
If you cannot add value to the silence.
You cannot add value to the silence.
Keep quiet.
Shut up.
Put water in your mouth.
Put water in your mouth. Prof, thank you very much for joining us today. Professor Peter Kagwanja, CEO of the Africa Institute, has been our guest talking about the state of the nation. In the next hour, we want to have an open conversation with you. We'll be opening up the phone lines and also reading your comments on Facebook and YouTube. 0719-012-600 will be the number that we'll ask you to call in. Good morning, 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The Orange Democratic Movement has flagged as fake a letter purporting that the Raila Odinga-led party has withdrawn from the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party. The party said via its X platform that the letter is the work of fake minds. The fake letter claimed that the ODM had decided to withdraw from the deed of agreement that established the Azimio coalition after a National Executive Committee meeting. Drafters of the letter agreed, addressed to registrar or political parties, and Derito claimed it was signed by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and copied to all constituent parties of the Azimio coalition. Azimio under Raila's leadership is composed of the ODM, the Jubilee Party, NARC Kenya, and KANU as the main parties. Security officers in Nakuru County have launched an investigation following a farm dispute that broke out between communities living in the Angata Barikoi area. According to the residents of the area, unknown people invaded the area and started shooting at them, saying they should not be in the land. They have claimed that the local chief has been inciting the communities to fight on ethnic lines.
Sasa nikasikia mlio wa risasi. Kuna jamaa alikuwa anafuata na boda huko mbele. Ikapigwa risasi. Sasa huyo jamaa akaanguka. Haya, punde si punde nikasikia mlio wa risasi kutoka ikinikonga mguu yangu ya mbele.
Watu wako na right, walinunua mashamba yao. Na ni hiyo jamii tu ya huyo assist, huyo chief ya hapa hatuwezi ficha. Wapi yeye ameleta problematic katika hii area.
The County Commissioner Isaac Masinda has promised to restore order in the area, warning those who support hostility between the communities living in the area that action will be taken against them.
Nilikuwa nikuje niongee na wase, tukuja tufanye barasa, lakini bunduki ikapikwa. Watu wakatoroka. Hata mwingine alikuwa anasema saidia ng'ombe yangu inaenda. Nataka kusema wala ambao wako na bunduki, kwa sababu tunaambiwa iko bunduki mingi hapa. Afadhali urudishe mapema kabla hatujafika kwako.
Busia Deputy Governor Arthur Odera has had a difficult time assuring residents of Nambale that the Level 4 hospital in Nambale has enough medicine and other medical equipment. Odera told the residents that medicines have been bought after Governor Paul Lutoma paid the debt left by his predecessors Hospital Ojamong to KEMSA, and there are no reasons why people should lack medicine in the hospitals.
Tulipata deni kubwa KEMSA. KEMSA ikakata kutupatia madawa. Tumelipa hiyo deni nusu, tumejadiliana na KEMSA, wamekubali kutupa madawa na hivi juzi madawa yamefika. Nambale Sub County Hospital iko na madawa. Iko. Enda muende iko. Enda mutibiwe iko. Na mimi nataka tufanye hivi. Kesho tukutane hapo. Sawa sawa.
This after Matayo's South Ward representative Dennis Okinda claimed that CECs and senior officials in the Busia County government are negligent and have the ability to close their offices after Governor Utoma left the country.
Namba pili, Mheshimiwa Governor, tuko na shida kubwa katika kaunti. Shida ile ambayo tuko nayo Mheshimiwa ni kwamba wewe ukiondoka, wale watu ambao unawacha nyuma wanakuwa mabaili. Wewe ukipanda ndege kwenda Dubai, wengine wanaenda Afrika Kusini, wengine wanaenda Mombasa. Ukiingia katika ofisi za kaunti hakuna kazi inafanyika pale. Na hii Mheshimiwa Governor, lazima tuangalie vizuri. Watu hawafanyi kazi katika ofisi zako hapa, lazima crack the whip. Na Mheshimiwa Governor, sisi kama assembly, ukiona tumeanza kufukuza watu wengine kazi, usichukue makosa. Tutakuwa tunafanya ile kazi yetu ya oversight, ile ambayo tumetumwa na wananchi kufanya.
6 suspects were arraigned at the Maua Law Court in Meru County in connection to a daring December 6th incident that saw an unruly mob break into a police armory before stealing a loaded AK-47 rifle. The 6 were all denied bail by the court. The case will be mentioned on January 10th, 2024. And the High Court has warned the family of late Cabinet Minister Simeon Nyachai against attempts to delay a case in which an American-based woman is seeking part of the former Abagusi politician's 2 billion shillings estate. Margaret Chwea and the children Rodney Chwea, John Paul Nyandusi and Patricia Mora have sued Charles Nyachai, Angela Nyachai and Eric Maina Nyachai, who are the administrators of the senior Nyachai's estate, estimated to be worth over 2 billion shillings. The woman said the Nyachai family has left her out of the inheritance, yet she was Nyachai's wife and that they had 3 children together. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, traffic heavy this morning, still not letting up, at least not just yet. Still heavy coming off a thicker superhighway. It's a little bit better on Kiambu Road, but Limuru Road then getting through into the city and touching on Wangari Maathai still continues to be a headache. All right, Lusaka Road has reduced significantly. It's heavy coming off of Jogo Road, getting towards Landis and then out towards Haile Selassie. That still continues with quite some traffic this morning. Aerodrome Road coming off Langata Road and touching on Huru Highway is also pretty busy. Mombasa Road, for the most part, looks good as you're getting into the city. Enterprise Road, a little bit of that touching on Likoni Road, and then on the other side of things, Langata Road, it's not done too poorly this morning. One to watch as we get through it. Gong Road also not too bad either. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X, see what happens as we come to the end of traffic hour.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room,
So,
the
Skiza,
only
my
way
friend,
to start your day.
If you download the Maramoja taxi app today, yes, and then you go to the wallet and you load some cash into the wallet. So the Maramoja app has a wallet. Unaweka pesa hapo, which then you can use to do what? To pay for your taxi. Right. Are we together so far?
Yes, please.
Okay. If you load whatever amount, Maramoja app will give you 50% extra. Whatever amount you load. If you load 1,000, you get how much?
500.
So your total will be?
1,500.
Yes. Okay?
Yes.
And then you use that now to pay. Now, can you imagine? You're basically just getting 50% of the value that you load onto the wallet. Immediately you do, and you use that to pay for your rides. Please. So number one, go to App Store, Play Store, look for Maramoja Taxi app. Download. Then, you will register and then create go to the wallet, load it, get money. Use Hail an app. It's available in Nairobi. Very, very many vehicles in Nairobi. Several vehicles in Mombasa, in Nakuru, in Eldoret, in Naivasha, in Kisumu. You use a taxi that is reliable. It is Kenyan. That's why we say mara moja ni yetu.
Yeah.
Why? Because it was developed by Kenyans. It's managed by Kenyans. It's run by Kenyans. And it has all the hallmarks of a safe app. Nowadays, people have been complaining about these apps and saying, hey, siko sure. Trusted. How do they onboard their drivers? They onboard their drivers by doing some thorough background checks. And also, just by assigning stars and all, you're also giving feedback to the app and the managers to know these drivers who are getting high scores in terms of reviews are then trustworthy. And then they have also created another layer where they tell you can actually go ahead and if you trust a driver, you have a driver that you found that served you very well and you'd like to use them again. Next time you go to hail a cab, you can hail a cab and pair with that driver and say, I want a taxi to come and I want the taxi that's driven by John to come and pick me up. So that way you are basically calling your cab guy, John, to come through Maramoja taxi. This also helps them to know if John is the cab guy for so many people, then John is a trustworthy driver. If this guy is not getting any pairing, then there's an issue.
There's a problem
they
here.
Start investigating and they take action. See? It's the way to go. Download today Maramoja taxi and get going. Maramoja ni yetu city. Remind us the day's proverb.
Yes, our final proverb from the country, the Republic of Djibouti. Djibouti. Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put.
Rather than get up and do a bad dance, stay put. If you don't trust your competence to perform a certain task, just
relax.
I personally don't agree.
You don't agree with this?
No.
Why?
What else can tell you?
Because sometimes it's in trying to do that wrong dance that you realize that you're actually doing a wrong dance.
And that's how you learn.
That's how you understand and that's how you learn.
It's almost like telling a child, don't get up and walk because you might fall down.
No, get up.
Get up and walk and fall a couple of times. Then you figure it out as you go.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Child, small, center of gravity, hapo tu, even if you fall. Yeah, slight injury. Dancing. My friend, you have no idea which part of your limbs the music will touch.
It could also be the other way around, City. It could be encouraging you before you come, because maybe the assumption here is the dance is this public spectacle, public event.
Yes.
All right? Everybody knows that there's going to be a dance tomorrow. Prepare yourself for this dance. Don't just come at any dance. Come.
Bring yourself.
And come and just spoil everything. Work hard before. Prepare for the dance. So that then you come here and you know, I've got the moves.
Get your steps right.
Yes. I've got the moves. And then when you get into the room, you can dance.
Point well made.
Yeah.
That is an interesting perspective. Thank you, sir.
So we have marked 60 years of independence. We're asking ourselves this question, and actually Andrew Franklin sent me some good info. So, June 1st, 1963, internal self-rule. That year, 12th of December, 1963, we got a president, a prime minister, but the Queen still remained as the boss. The following year, 1963 December, 1964 December, we became a republic. Queen gone. Jomo becomes now president. Get it?
And as we realize, Queen didn't really go anywhere, but nonetheless, we're given the impression Queen is gone. Okay.
Yeah. So 60 years later, as we commemorate Kenya's independence, 60 years later, just also building up on what we were discussing the previous hours, looking at the leadership in the various administrations from Kenyatta 1 to Moi, to to Moi, to Kibaki 1, to a Grand Coalition government, to Uhuru 1, to Uhuru handshake, to Ruto. Have we made progress as a country? And what kind of progress is it? Is Kenya standing on its own 2 feet yet? Or is it still crawling? Is it about time we actually took this kid to the doctor and said, this child...
stunted growth.
Yeah. There's some developmental issues.
Look, I think that even with the stunted growth, that you still have a child who's standing upright, isn't it? Even with stunted growth, there are very many things that this child is able to do. They're able to feed. There's cognitive ability. They're able to do certain things. They can be in school. Maybe they've not reached all the milestones that they have to. Maybe they've not crossed them properly. But there's some kind of movement. There's progress, which ought to be celebrated. However, the reason why you take them into the specialist is because you've noted that something is wrong. And you've noted that at the pace that, because that's just it, that whomever decided that by the time a child has reached this age, certain things should have been done. Certain milestones should have been crossed. That if you see a child at 1.5 years old and this child is not walking, something is wrong here. If this child is not eating solid food, there's a problem. If by the time they get to that 1.5, they're not babbling, they're not saying something, they've not said mama, dada, there's something wrong. If they get again to age 3 and 4, they're not starting to put together more complex words and speak them out. You know that there's something wrong. If they cannot pick up a spoon and feed themselves at that age, also you know there's something wrong. That does not mean that there are certain things along the way that this child has not achieved. That doesn't mean that. But again, the reason why you go to a specialist is because there is something wrong.
And you know there's something wrong because you're comparing the child with other children.
Who at that, and that's where this whole thing came from in the first place. Because you've seen a child who quote unquote is normal, and you've said, they've been able to achieve this and this and this. And over time, the collection of this knowledge then allows you to make those comparisons because you say, okay, in the majority of these children at this age, this and this and this has been achieved. And that is what you use now for your comparison. Now, when you see something standing out, that's when you say, then here, there's a problem. Let's go see the doctor. The hope is that when you go to see the doctor, the things that the doctor tells you to do, or the doctor says, no, this one we are tanking it, it's over, it's finished, we cannot do anything about it, let's just live with the situation. Or they say, there's something we can do along the way to change this thing. The hope is that the advice that the doctor has given to you, you will now take it. Why? Because the doctor is one of the practitioners in this pool of people whereby they have been able to do the analysis and have said, this is normal behavior. And in order to achieve this normal behavior, you must then do 1, 2, 3. Now, unfortunately, what I see when we look at nations, and now again, in comparison to other nations, for systematic operations, certain things have come about. Good governance we call about all the time. We talk about a thriving people and 1, 2, 3 that must be done at the very barest minimum. When we talk about those things, has there been fluidity? Has there been consistency amongst those in those areas? And if those things is there a way in which you can manage your debt? Is there a way in which there's fiscal responsibility with nations? Those are the things. Then you go to the doctor and you say, hold up, there's a problem. Now, when they say prescribe, now, whomever the doctor is, I don't know that we should say it's the financial institutions from the West should be the doctor. Or when you see that a nation is crying constantly, when you see that the people continuously are frustrated, when you see that you cannot provide what is needed in sectors, health, education, etc., infrastructure is not up to scratch, that's now when you say, okay, doctor, please help. Now, if you're not doing what the doctor has ordered, that's when you say, okay, Kenya has done well, it has progressed along 1, 2, 3, but we're still dealing with some fundamentals that have not been sorted out, and they must be sorted out for you to say, actually, yes, well done. Look at the last 20 years, for example. Look at what devolution has done. I spoke with somebody from one area who said, without devolution, before devolution, we did not see a building more than 2 stories. We don't know what that looks like. Our area did not have an ECD. Children had to go whatever to look. We did not even have community water. So can we then say that Kenya has not progressed? No, we cannot. That there are very many things that have been done. We see infrastructure incomparable to what is happening in other African nations. That's the truth.
So then, if we are comparing with our peers who are the same age as us,
Yes, Kenya has done
then
better.
we are above average.
Yes, has
In
done
fact,
very
we
well.
need to skip the next class.
Has done very well.
We need to go to standard 5.
Perhaps. But then you say, in that space where now you have been placed, remember, at the stages. At the stages, again, there are certain things that are going to be asked of you to do. A child, if you go back to the analogy of children, a child who is in class 1, or what is called grade 1 now, if you cannot read with your hard consonants, ka, b, g, t, if you cannot read, there's a problem. If you cannot do rote counting, there's a problem. You should have been able to achieve that with the correct elements having been put in place. If you go to the next stage, amongst the people who are in that class, Kenya, having done 1, 2, 3, and is at this stage, there are certain things that we should expect from you by now. Whether other people are lagging behind, you're still in the same class or in the same age group, but we expect this of you at this time. Again, from that pool of comparison that has been created, if there are certain things that you're not doing, remember, you have a different stage. But again, there's still demands that are being required of you.
Yeah.
If you've not reached them, there's a problem.
So how do we know who to compare with? Because if the basic is, let's compare ourselves. We are saying we are 60. Let's compare ourselves with those who are in their 60th year or in the 6th decade of their independence. All right? So we look at Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, all these are countries. How do we rate ourselves?
You know, I think the yardstick...
Are they behind us or are they ahead of us?
Actually, the yardstick...
In all those things, in terms of development, in terms of per capita income, in terms of human rights, in terms of exposure, in terms of community awareness, in terms of all those things...
I would use the standard of measure as our aspirations. Because what do we see for ourselves? What would we like to see for ourselves as a nation? Because the dreams that people have for nationhood are born out of an idea of what it is you'd like to actually see that nation becoming, or the people who are in that nation becoming.
Yes.
Children are taken to school because parents have a vision of what it is that they'd like to see their children become. Now, in the previous hour, we're talking about the current government and the vision they presented of a nation where the downtrodden would be uplifted and the downtrodden would be given priority. And it was a good narrative. It was a narrative people wanted to hear. It was a narrative people needed to hear. The question I keep asking is, why did people need to hear that narrative? Why was it so important? It was important because people clearly did not feel that they were part and parcel of this country, that this country seemed to belong to other people in the same country as them, and they had no say in it, or if the say they had was minimal. The one thing we haven't done well is to hold our leaders to account. And that will be our damnation. We will murmur and complain among ourselves, but if we do not hold our leaders to account, they're just simple Africans who are leading us. They're not complicated people. They're just like the rest of us, simple Africans. They will run amok, they'll do crazy things. When they're held to account, then the dreams and the aspirations that we have will be realized. Because if I look at the theft that has taken place in this country should have collapsed a long time ago.
Or if the theft did not happen, this country would have progressed a long time.
You've said it very well, my sister. That's precisely the point, you see? So now, but so long as we have all these dreams and we talk about our infrastructure, but the personal development where we are able to do this one thing, look at the truth in the eye and ensure that those we elect into place of leadership are forced to look at this truth in the eye as well, because we make them look at it. Then everything that we keep talking about and doing will come to naught. And we'll keep complaining and we'll keep talking about the thing that we actually should have stopped talking about a long time ago. Because the problem exists, we know it, we see it, and the solution is in our hands, and yet we do nothing about it.
I'm taking the half-full approach or view to this.
Yes.
What you have said actually indicates to me that we are holding our leaders to account.
Please explain.
The fact that, first of all, we are conscious of what we'd like to see, and we are also conscious that we are not seeing it, and we are able to directly link that to leadership, is already a level of accountability. That we're already saying, no, these guys, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Talking about it is one step towards that accountability. The next step is taking the decisive action, and even taking the decisive action of what to do at an election, proactively, not reactively.
Not or retroactively.
Or retroactively.
Yes.
But proactively. That is something. And I'd compare that to, if we look at the first administration, where it was the leaders were the revered people, nobody could talk back to the leader, yes, they had this consciousness of wanting to serve, but they were not getting pushback from the public as much as they receive now. The fact that we've gotten to a level where we've just had a clip here, somebody saying iko madawa kwa hospitali, and people saying hakuna, and then muone hakuna, go and say hakuna, and it was in the news just now. People are saying no, hakuna madawa, iko madawa, hakuna. We had the other one, the minister Malonza, the clip was all over. She's saying kazi inafanywa, and they were like, acha wewe. That is the citizens actually starting to hold their leaders to account and saying, story kama hiyo hapana, hatutaki. That is progress. That shows us that we're in the same grade 6, all of us, with Tanzania, with Uganda, with whoever else, but we are above the level of we are index 1. We are index 1 in terms, we can already see grade 7. We know what we want to do when we get to grade 7. We're already actually seeing even beyond grade 7, 8, 9. We are seeing grade 10, I want to move into sciences, or I want to move into arts. At grade 6, we already have identified, we have a dream of what we'd like to do. Right? And then, in my mind, that tells me that Kenya is actually at that level where, and that's why we have all this impatience. Because I want to do sciences. I'm wondering, why you're wasting time telling me to go and play football? Is football is linked to my sciences? Because I get to grade 10, I'll be doing sciences. And I want you as a teacher to explain to me this football and how that's why we're impatient.
Remember, one of the things that was wonderful about our 2010 constitution was what we call chapter 6, before the watering down. When we murmur, and the elected leaders knows that after the murmur nothing will happen, yes, they know we are unhappy, but they also know there's nothing else we're going to do beyond being unhappy. We may have to wait 5 years before we can do something else. We had an opportunity where, difficult as it may have been, we are able to tell you, okay, we've got you. See what's happening with the governor, it could happen to the MP, MCA, it could happen. I'm simply saying that beyond even taking those measures, these leaders are elected from our community. They're people we know. They're not strangers. They are so-and-so's brother, so-and-so's cousin, so-and-so's uncle. They're people we know. If somebody aspires to be a leader and they themselves seem to think that they are beyond being held accountable, because that's what seems to be the case. Or they are held accountable until they get to that position. Then at that point, they then feel that they are not in a position to be held accountable. Then again, I'm back to factory settings. The progress that we are supposed to make with regards to moving forward, because these are the people who are supposed to help us move forward, we will not be moving forward. The consciousness you speak of is key. Meaning you think and you realize, when people benefit, so do I. Yes. But we have a case where I benefit If the people benefit, well,
doesn't matter. If they benefit,
it's a
fine.
bonus.
If they don't, great. You know, we move because I have been sorted out.
Yes.
And that's the bane of this situation in which we continually are in.
In fact, what you mentioned, the example you've given, which was in the news just a few minutes ago, was here is the leader doing what they do. Coming to lie outrightly, and you're being told, Chief, it is not true.
Yeah.
Next thing is go away.
Get out of here.
Yes. Now, yes, we're making progress. But the progress that I would have liked to see after 60 years is one where our discussions around education and health and leadership are one where what we're doing is good, how do we improve? We're not there. We seem to be that hamster. Okay? The issues of health that we're discussing 10 years ago, the same issues we're discussing now. People think they're different. They're not really different. The issues of health that we're discussing 20 years ago are the same issues we're discussing now. In fact, I could argue that 30 years ago, you would actually find drugs in hospitals.
And I think that's what makes it a little bit more sticky.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter where you go on this continent, here in Kenya, go to Nigeria, go to Ghana, go to South Africa, go around the world, and people will tell you of a time gone by when things worked properly.
Yes.
In the era of independence, not in the colonial era. In the era of independence, where we had our own leaders doing things the proper way, and people would fall in line. So that's what makes it a little bit more painful, that we seem to have gone from a point whereby we knew and we operated in a way in which we knew was the correct way. But then we've gone away from the axis. And it seems so much more difficult to be able to come back with the development that we have achieved. We've not been able to apply the operations of proper behavior behind it. And that's what makes it a little bit more painful, that we know what to do, we know how to do it, and we know who should do it, but we just do not.
Just take a break. We want to hear from you now. 0719 012 600. I'm going to repeat 0719 012 600. Also, you can post your reactions on YouTube, the live stream, and on Facebook on the live stream. 60 years after independence. Is Kenya crawling? Is Kenya running? Walking? Is Kenya running? Is Kenya stunted? Is this stunted growth? Stunted growth means there's growth,
Yes.
but
We'd like a little bit more.
mahali uko na mahali unafaa kuwa different. 29 to 10. Let's hear from you after this break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge.
Muga,
not Muga.
He's here, and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman, another man marries trouble. Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It will die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
With the same
Bukati,
IEBC.
You can't.
I tell you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Because kina Edna, it's the, like you said, the B's and the P's. Kila kitu mkisia kisema atasema opposite.
Opposite?
Ukisema hii anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Wewe ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room, Spice. The only way to start your day.
Partly sunny conditions in Nairobi, 19 degrees, highs of 23. And we'll see highs of 25 in a partly sunny Nakuru at 20. 19 and cloudy in Nyeri, going to highs of 23. And 24 will be the high in a mostly sunny Eldoret at 19. Looking into Mombasa, it's partly sunny at 29, while Malindi is sunny at 30. Kisumu, partly sunny 24, going to highs of 29. And at 23, Kakamega is partly sunny with highs of 28 and lows of 17. Out in Kampala, the sun is up at 22, highs of 27. And through Thursday, Dar es Salaam will see highs of 32 and lows of 26. It's mostly cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 25 and lows of 16. Mogadishu is sunny at 30 with highs of 33 and going to highs of 22. Addis Ababa is mostly sunny currently at 16. There's a haze over Lagos skies at 22 still, highs of 33 down to lows of 22, while Kinshasa after the rain is cloudy at 24 with highs of 32. Looking into Friday afternoon, cloudy and windy at -7 in Beijing with highs of -4 rather. We'll see lows of -14. It's cloudy at 8 in Paris, highs of 10, and London is cloudy at 6 with highs of 9. Getting closer to Friday morning, New York is clear at 4. We'll see highs of 14 and lows of 4.
Spice up your life.
All right, let's see where we were, or rather, where we are now. There was quite some traffic in certain parts. Looking at the eastern part of the city, Jogo Road had really piled up, getting out towards Landis, and unfortunately still just so. And we saw that traffic had reduced significantly on Lusaka Road, but then now it's crawling back again. Really nowhere to go to with that heavy traffic coming in from Lusaka, coming in from Jogo Road onto Landis and onto Haile Selassie, still busy. Uhuru Highway past the Haile Selassie Junction is heavy, and out towards Chiromo. Looks like it's going to be there for some time. The Thika Superhighway, my golly gosh, heavy traffic, even past and on your service lanes. So you want to think about what you want to do there. You might want to hold out a little bit before we get out of it. Still traffic, heavy at the end of traffic hour, but still going on through Friday morning. Keep an eye on things and see what it looks like. Talk to us through the morning. SpiceFM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
All right, let's hear from
Nairobi.
you now. How do you rate? Well, how are we doing as a country 60 years after independence? Are we growing or are we stunted in growth? 25 to 10 0719-012-600 or YouTube or Facebook. Just post your comments. The people who are on live stream, read some of those comments on live stream.
Quite some. The elected people can gang together to voice for remuneration or funding like we saw of the CDF, but legislative matters, that's for the interest of the people, matters before an oppressive one, right? Pan-African Nation says, my opinion is that we really need to nail how we elect representatives at the lower levels, MCAs, MPs, then the presidential stuff will eventually follow. The presidential election is too emotive for reason. We need to be more proactive when championing political change in this country. We keep electing thieves, okay? We need to remove the presidential system because it's hard to put a president into account. We have got we should even boycott elections when the contestants are implicated on integrity issues. A powerful people on paper, but powerless on taking control of their own destiny. Fear of saying no is our weakness.
Many comments coming in, and basically I hear none saying we're at a good place.
This is true. Chumsi says, look, they made sure the puppet took... who's that? They made sure the puppet took up the presidency. Just look what is happening. Very soon he'll announce himself as president of Africa. Wow, okay. Those that have been bestowed the responsibility to lead our great nation are in denial about their shortcomings.
You know, when someone takes the effort to continuously tell you something, there's a reason why they're telling you something. Beyond just wanting you to hear what is being said. You know, when you speak to others, you're also speaking to yourself. Because you can actually hear what you're saying. Okay? Now remember, getting elected is just one thing. In this country, it's taken for granted that once you're elected, you've got 5 years. The only people who don't have that luxury are governors. Because their threats are real.
Yeah. It's a daily thing.
They know it's real. It's not something to joke about.
If you go home that day and you're still in office, shukuru Mungu. Everybody else, it's assumed. Let's hear from Lawrence, and then we continue from your line of thought. Lawrence in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning.
How
morning,
are you?
Lati, Ndu, and City.
Good morning, sir.
FYI, I'm called Lawrence Biwot. So I think what we are suffering as a country is examples.
Uh-huh.
Because as children, we learn from our fathers. As leaders, we learn from those who have gone before us. I have the Kalenjin nation learned that for you to become rich, you must get into power, take government resources. Then from there, you become a powerful person.
Who taught you that?
It is an example that is there. The Moi did it. So for the 24 years, the entire Kalenjin nation was learning that for you to become rich, you must just make sure you get into power. There you'll get resources, you'll get access to government resources especially, and you become rich, you acquire land, and our value system is basically land. I'm sure you'll agree that all Nilots like to have big chunks of land. So the city is laughing because it's one of them.
I am most definitely a Nilot, yes.
yes. So the best thing they do in government is come up with schemes of getting rich, basically. That's why you'd see when people make noise to the CSA, like more comment and tell him, oh, you took bribes. Not because they're just shouting from trees. It's because maybe the bribe that was given, the guy did not get a cut. So he's just shouting that, where is my cut? So it is really disheartening that we had 60, but we are struggling with teething problems. Not because we have lost our teeth, but because it never grew. Yes.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you very much. 0719-012-600. Where are you calling from? Let's hear from you. 60 years after independence, where are we as a country? Are we making progress? Are we not making progress? City, I'm not sure you remember your train of thought where you were earlier, but let's just hear from Langat. Langat in Kericho. Good morning.
Good morning, Latif, Du, and the other gentleman from the lake.
Gentleman from the lake.
Mine, I would think, I want to disagree with Biwot, who just spoke. One, with disregard to the Kalenjin nation having learned the art of grabbing or whatever he implied from the past. I think ours is essentially a tribal kind of structure where we whip emotions. And anyone from a community would obviously, if there is a man on the top who is from a community, would obviously elect them in a contest that is there. And it's because we have made this contest about tribes, and we would not be in this position if we started well from independence. So from the word go, it went wrong. So what we need is probably a revolution that our generation will not be able to afford. We are too scared of a revolution now.
What do you mean by revolution?
We have a revolution of the mind, so that we start looking at people from what they are capable of doing, not from where they come from.
How would we know?
I would give you. Sorry.
How would we know we're in a revolution?
Well, look at the situation in the country now. We are going downhill. Only when we hit the bottom is people will realize that the choices we make have consequences. It doesn't matter who is in power. If they make the wrong decisions, we all go down. So I think we just need to go further down so that we all realize that we are responsible for our own decisions. But I would think if you look at the county government, the problem we have also is the issue of short-term goals. Growing up, we used to think that, when you clear college, you go to get a job, you have like a 30-year plan, 40 years. When you're 40, you're married, you get you buy a house, you buy a car and everything. But now with the county government, people have like a 5-year plan. You're elected, or you're appointed to position and you want to achieve everything in 4 years. So we have people in government who have very short-term plans. They have converted long-term plans to be achieved in a very short time. So we, as a country, we definitely have a problem.
Thank you, Langat. Thank you very much. From Kericho, let's go to Madeira. Sami.
Yes, Eric.
Good morning.
Good morning, Five. Good to hear from you guys.
Sante Sana, good to hear you as well.
One thing that I've learned with this government, before we used to say we should elect very educated people to parliament. Now you have a very educated team in parliament and we are still having very simple problems. The country that we have is a country of learned people. And we are struggling with basics. Things like hospitals, there are no drugs, just simple roads back in our villages. Putting maram, not even tobacco. We are just struggling with basics.
Switching on a generator.
So just imagine a generator. A generator in my church works. I don't understand how a generator doesn't work in the airport. In Madeira, people have generators and they work. The barber shop. You go to the barber and your hair is being cut and something happens and there's no power. The guy just puts on the generator. So you can imagine the kind of things that we are being told at the international airport.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of refusing to do the right things, the basic right things. We are struggling with just the basics. If the president and his cabinet could just do the basics, the rest of the country will grow.
Thank you, Sami.
We are not asking for so complicated things. Thank you very much, Eric.
Are you in Madeira or in Mazeras? Just to confirm.
Mazeras. On your way to Mombasa.
So,
yes.
Forgive Edna. Alisikia Madeira. Solomon in Australia.
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
It's good afternoon over here. So I've been hearing your conversation the whole day, and I think the thing that we as Kenya have is a problem of civic education. It's a sovereign thing that we have to understand what's going on, because I think the politics that is being played on the people, it's not a thing which we see as it's serious, because the government doesn't have any money which they earn from the people. So I think civic education should be something we should be taken very seriously among the people. And it's going to make us move as a unit instead of looking at tribal lines or money and power.
Whose responsibility is it to ensure there's civic education?
I think the civil servants and, like the people in power should just come clean, and they have to know that if the person they are talking to really understands what's happening, they're not going to just come and talk all the lies and shenanigans that they bring to us.
Thank you very much, Solomon. Asante sana. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you very much.
And thank you for calling in. Daniel in Kajiado.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Eric Latif.
Good morning.
Muga and Ndu.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I am well. Now, I know I've been listening to you guys, and I thank God that we still have intellectuals who still use their brains along the bipartisan lines. What we are lacking in Kenya is not lack of leadership, not lack of human resource. We have all this. What we forget about our leaders, or let me not even call them leaders, let me call them politicians, because not all politicians are leaders, and not all leaders are politicians. These people are our servants. They are not to be worshipped. There is no day you tell your house girl, take these 100 shillings, go buy milk and bread. In turn, they go buy a kilo of nails. And when they come back to your house, instead of giving an explanation why they did that, you turn your head on the other direction and say, maybe next time she will learn.
Maybe next time she'll bring what I sent her.
Yes. So the point is this. When our leaders, who are our servants, keep messing our economy and also messing with the future of our kids, future of our old folks, future of the health system, education, and all we can do is call them waheshimiwa. Because somebody has stolen the future of our kids, instead of using the education funds, they divert them for their own good.
Yep.
We clap for them. Why can't we start this policy as the people, whereby if you see a mheshimiwa, instead of running for handouts or being bamboozled by the big cars, we just say, hey, mheshimiwa, so and so, you promised us to do this road. You promised us to give us water.
Yeah.
You promised better healthcare system. Where is it? Why is it that when they get sick, they have to fly out?
Accountability, bottom line.
Yes, and to finish it up, I would say this. Any person being paid by taxpayer should only get services from government services. For example, if you are sick, go to Kenyatta, go to Kajiado Sub-County Hospital, go to Kisumu Hospital, go to government hospital, meaning you've done proper planning for other people who can't fly out, meaning the services are working for the people.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Very much appreciated, and you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Eric in Rongai. Eric. Wewe zima redio kwanza. John in Nyandarua.
Yes, how are you, everybody?
Everybody is fine.
Yes, how are you doing?
Poa kabisa. How are you?
Okay, very fine.
How is Henny? It must be raining.
Raining crazy. It has just stopped.
Very good.
Yes. Now you have a very, very important agenda. I'm happy about it. Discussing about what our nation is like. What I can say is that originally we had done very well. But after some years we started doing badly because we institutionalized some policy, some things which were negative towards development. Corruption is one of them. Corruption is something which has contributed significantly towards, destroying the growth of our economy. Lack of proper plan, implementation of policies. For instance, the implementation, one example is devolution. The way we implemented devolution should not be the way, because if we had sensible planners in the implementation program of our devolution, we should not be spending 70% on recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
At county level. And we have people who can come up with ways on how we can spend the 70% on development and at least 30% on recurrent expenditure. But if you try to bring up such a program, you'll be fought left, right, and center by these politicians.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? In fact, there's somebody who told me that we should now have a Ministry of Corruption in Kenya because it is something institutionalized now.
That is City's idea as well.
Have a look at education. We are now moving to an era where we shall have a system that has no exams, where the local teacher will be assessing a child and giving the child marks to go forward. If we could corrupt NEC to get exams, what are we going to do at the local level? Definitely, I will give money to my local teacher to see that my child passes. At the end of the day, we are in trouble. So now we have institutionalized corruption even at the classroom. A classroom which had never had corruption. Corruption will be there very soon.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Have a good one.
Thank you. Okay.
Eric in Rongai.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I just want to maybe just reiterate on the fact that Mr. Muga mentioned something that is very, very fundamental about the ability to be able to say no to, be able to stick to power and tell them that this is wrong and say that enough is enough. But now, the problem is that as youth, that we are not able to actually harness this platform and be able to tell leaders that corruption is hated and corruption is no longer going to be entertained, and be able to use this platform to bring ourselves together and make sure that corruption a very painful affair and a very fundamental aspect of being elected to positions. So I think as a country, as youth, we know that we have almost 80% of youth actually are youth in Kenya. So I believe that if we're able to bring ourselves together beyond tribal affiliation or political affiliations, and speak and I'll say that we are not going to elect leaders who are not beyond reproach. Leaders who are able to actually be very friendly to youth and avoid corruption, then our country will go very far. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. And finally, let's hear from Mohammed in Mwakijembe.
Yes, sir.
Vipi lakini?
And madam over there.
Yes, sir.
Mazo, happy Jamhuri Day. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Zote.
In advance.
Yes. Asante.
Long time. I really missed contributing to your show. Okay. I want to contribute to this on this direction.
Okay.
I remember late 60s, early 70s, we used to loan Singapore. They used to take loans from us as Kenya after independence. Number one. Number two, there was a blueprint for the betterment of Kilindini Port. We never implemented. The Singaporeans got a copy of it. They did it, and they are very far away. I remember when I was in Nairobi, those mid-70s, I used to see Malaysians coming to KIA, Kabete, Lower Kabete, to come and learn governance from Kenya. Where are we now? So, I'll put it this way in a nutshell. You remember there was a saying Mr. City gave many years back, a couple of years back. He said, however the Makalio are in hurry, they will always remain behind. When you are behind, you are not behind other African countries. You are behind countries which we assisted. Singapore, Malaysia, we are really far behind. Just like the Makalio, we're in a hurry. But you can't overtake them. We'll always remain behind because of the mindset. You know, the mindset of greed, moral values, hakuna, all such issues contributed to us to be where we are today. Singapore took a copy of the blueprint of Kilindini Port, and they're very far because of the port. Malaysians came to learn governance, and they're very far in governance than us. So I think we are Makalio. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Have a lovely weekend. A couple of questions or comments on YouTube.
Well, here it is. My take, we should do away with democracy and embrace monarchy. Okay. No king would wish to leave his kin and a weak economy as compared to democracy. Okay. The problem we have in Kenya is threefold. 1, greed. 2, tribalism. 3, impunity. Our value system is messed up. We are materialistic, and it's reflected by the leaders we voted for. Kenya is and has been stagnating ever since we got independence because those in leadership are hell-bent to amass wealth. Politics in Kenya is a way of hiding thieves and theft and impunity. Wow. Quite a lot. I think the current parliament is the most useless since independence. Young, greedy, clueless, easily corruptible, just vote mindlessly, gamblers and business owners as political leaders. My goodness.
Hey, God.
I tell you, Parliament needs to assert Parliament needs to assert its role. For now, it's a rubber stamp parliament at the behest of the president. There was that comment that really struck me. Powerful people on paper, but powerless on taking control of their own destiny. Fear of saying no is our weakness.
Begins with us, huh? Tujiangalie. Tuko pabaya kuliko jana. Sauti Sol sang it.
Yep.
Sauti Sol sang it. So as we look into the next 60, we need to do something. And this is the whole consciousness of the people. Let's look back, take stock of what we are doing, take stock of where we are, take stock of what we are able to do. And then let's make sure that we do it.
Absolutely.
Do it directly, do it indirectly by the delegated authority that you give to your leaders. But let's do something. Asanteni sana. City, what's your parting shot?
Don't give up.
Don't give up?
No.
There's still... Ndu, what's yours?
There's a right to do. And that's two. The right thing in terms of correctness, and then the right in terms of rights that's bestowed on you. There's a right to do. It must be done.
We must all do it together. Somebody was actually saying, remember the gentleman at Jamhuri celebrations who came in there with a placard and they were saying, and I have an issue to raise. You know, collectively, when you don't like something, say you don't like it. When you like it, say you like it. If you like it, crown it. Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today and the entirety of this week. Join us again on Monday. We'll be here bright and early, God willing, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm going to Kajiado because the Moran's Golden Cup is happening.
They're doing the thing.
This is an open invitation. Please come, watch, see talent, raw, pure talent, football talent, young men and women from across Kajiado towns, villages, coming together in Kajiado town to play in this tournament. Finals will be on Sunday in Kajiado town at the Eldoret Stadium. It's called Eldoret Stadium. It's a stadium in Kajiado town. Have a lovely one, people. Enjoy your weekend. It's now 10 a.m.
Spice up your life